Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman having no knowledge. This new cover story raising questions, including in Turkey. President Erdogan says he will be revealing the full details of his country's probe tomorrow.
Fox's Greg Pelcott. Hurricane Michael now blamed for at least 39 deaths in all from Florida to Virginia. This after 4 more deaths confirmed in the hardest hit part of the Florida Panhandle, Bay County. In the Pacific, Hurricane Willa is now a Category 5 storm. Top sustained winds around 160 miles per hour expected to make landfall along Mexico's west coast by late tomorrow. An outpouring of support after an actress reveals she has MS.
In an emotional Instagram post, actress Selma Blair tells fans she was diagnosed with multiple sclerosis in August, explaining, "I am disabled. I fall sometimes. I drop things. My memory is foggy, and my left side is asking for directions from a broken GPS. But we are doing it, and I laugh, and I don't know exactly what I will do precisely, but I will do my best." The 46-year-old who stars as Harper Glass on Netflix sci-fi drama Another Life goes on to say she's had symptoms for years, thanking her team for their understanding. Adding, "By the grace of the Lord and willpower and the understanding of producers at Netflix, I have a job."
Fox's Kristen Goodwin recapping Wall Street. A mixed day overall. The NASDAQ finishes higher, the Dow lower, down about 126 points. It had been down over 200 during the session. I'm Lisa Brady. This is Fox News.
If you can dream uncommon design and unprecedented engineering, you define the 2018 Lexus. The boldly designed IS Sports Sedan's aggressive design stimulates the senses.
Advanced paddle shifting puts the exhilarating performance of the IS Sports Sedan at your fingertips. With deep, luxurious seating, the ES350 offers an ultimate level of comfort, while cutting-edge engineering delivers a thrilling drive.
Put yourself in a 2018 Lexus.
Now with special incentives.
At Atkins Kroll.
Security Title is honored to join in sponsoring Ray Gibson on The Point. Half a day. I'm Rita Tidegli of Manila, and this is where I start my day, listening to the voices of our community and sharing thoughts about issues that affect all of us. It all boils down to our people and our land. Ingatan ang iyong tahanan. Protect your home. When purchasing or refinancing your home, remember to call the professionals at Security Title, just like you call Ray Gibson in the morning.
Family Finance, serving the people of Guam since 1959. Now you can start planning for the holidays by getting a personal Christmas loan from $1,000 up to $3,500. Family Finance has 3 convenient locations to serve you. Give them a call in Dededo, 633-4473, Hagana, 475-4545, and the Upper Tumon location on the 2nd floor of the Pacific Building at 647-5626. Get your Christmas loans today from Family Finance.
Meet all the candidates up close and personal and find out why they deserve your vote. On Saturday, October 27th, you can meet them face-to-face during Micronesia Mall's one-on-one with the candidates. From 1 to 4 p.m., you can ask the tough questions, exchange views, express your concerns, or just get to know your candidates better. Hosted by Ray Gibson and broadcast on 93.3 The Point with the Facebook Live feed courtesy of Shooting Star Productions. Go one-on-one with the candidates. Saturday, October 27th, only at Micronesia Mall.
Calvo started with a simple handshake. As we celebrate 80 years, we extend a hand to all of you who have taken our hand in trust, to the dreamers and realists, the families, the businesses, the young at heart, and the old souls, our manamku and our children. From all of us to all of you, our deepest, happiest, and infinite thanks.
80 years here for you. 80 years thanks to you. Calvo's Insurance, a legacy of trust.
Your first look at 93.3 The Point News is brought to you by Guam Hearing Doctors. Call the experts at Guam Hearing Doctors if you're worried about your hearing. The evaluation is simple and painless.
Half a day and good morning, Guam. News time here at The Point is 8 minutes past 6 a.m. this Tuesday morning. I'm Kevin Kerrigan. Here's a look now at some of the top stories from the Guam Daily Post. Guam welcomed 1,520,000 tourists in fiscal year 2018, making it the second best fiscal year in local tourism history. Fiscal 2017 remains Guam's best year for tourism when 1,550,000 visited the island. However, Japanese arrival numbers continue to slide. The once dominant Japan market, which used to account for more than 80% of Guam's tourists, now provides just 35%. South Korea, formerly in second place, has become Guam's main source of tourists with 49% of the market. GVV President Nate DeKnight congratulated the tourism industry on this latest milestone, saying it wasn't easy. North Korea's threats to fire missiles towards Guam in August of 2017 lowered arrival numbers and airlines canceled service to Guam. That made it a tough year, but DeKnight said the tourism industry achieved great momentum in its recovery efforts, but noted we're not out of the woods yet. The Guam Federation of Teachers is throwing its support behind the Democratic gubernatorial team of Lou Leon Guerrero and Josh Tenorio, the union making the announcement yesterday afternoon, following a survey which found that 90% of GFT worksite stewards wanted to endorse Leon Guerrero and Tenorio. According to a release from the GFT, 68% of the stewards felt that Republican nominees, Governor Ray Tenorio and his running mate Tony Atta, would cause the most harm to their paychecks. The survey did not ask about the write-in team of Senator Frank Uggan Jr. and Alicia Lim Tiaco. Also yesterday, Delegate Madeline Bordallo publicly declared her support for the Leon Guerrero team in a video posted on the Lou and Josh Facebook page. We'll have more news after this.
We're surrounded by sound. There are sounds that you need to hear. There are sounds that you want to hear. And there are sounds that you long to hear. Hear it all, louder and clearer than ever before. If you or someone you know has a hard time hearing, Guam Hearing Doctors can help, using state-of-the-art test gear to evaluate your hearing and coming up with a plan to make your life better by making your hearing better. Call Guam Hearing Doctors for an appointment or visit them on the web at guamhearingdoctors.com. Morrico Equipment is the exclusive Freightliner truck dealer in Guam and Micronesia. That exclusive part is important because Morrico Equipment can sell new Freightliner trucks with the 2004 Mercedes diesel engine. If you operate trucks on Guam, then you know how important and reliable the old diesel engines are. The Mercedes diesel engine only in Freightliner trucks operates on both old and new diesel fuel. They do not require DEF fluid or engine regeneration. Freightliner trucks, only at Morrico Equipment.
11 minutes past 6 a.m. here at The Point. A new lawsuit has been filed in district court against former Guam priest Louis Brouillard, who died earlier this month in Minnesota. A man identified through the initials VP to protect his identity filed a civil complaint alleging Brouillard sexually abused and molested him when he was a teen in the early 1970s. Boy Scouts of America and the Archdiocese of Agana are also named in the complaint. VP was a Boy Scout for the Jonia Boy Scout troop, and Brouillard was a priest serving in the Archdiocese of Agana at the time. Brouillard has admitted to sexually abusing at least a dozen boys while he served as a parish priest and Boy Scout leader on island for nearly 4 decades. The U.S. Marine Corps' main base on Guam will be named in honor of the late Brigadier General Vicente Ben Blas. The base is currently under construction in Finnegajen. Delegate Madeline Bordallo petitioned the Navy to honor Blas by naming the Marine Corps base here after him. The Navy has notified Bordallo that Marine Corps Commandant General Robert Neeler has agreed, saying the commemoration to name the base after Blas reflects the strong and unique relationship of the Marine Corps and the people of Guam. Blas was born on Guam. He is the highest-ranking Chamorro to have served in the U.S. Marine Corps. He was a survivor of the Japanese occupation of Guam during World War II. He served in the Marines for 29 years and went on to represent Guam in the U.S. House of Representatives, where he served 4 terms as Guam's delegate to Congress. Blas died in January 2014, and he was laid to rest at Arlington National Cemetery in Virginia. For these stories and more, log on to postguam.com or pick up a copy of today's Guam Daily Post. Ray and Mike now take a look at weather.
Well, it's Ray and Mike and Brandon for the National Weather Service. Let me pop up the satellite imagery and see what looks like a more dangerous and threatening storm than the satellite imagery indicated yesterday. Good morning, Brandon.
Good morning, Ray. How are you doing?
I'm okay. Just a little bit concerned. Looks like we've got a little bit more circulation going, a little bit more of a shape that this U2 has taken overnight. And I don't know what's happening with the track now. It looks like it wants to go a little bit more south than originally predicted.
Yeah, that's some of the trends we've been noticing in the past couple of hours. The central convection has been quite consistent all night, and widespread showers and thunderstorms throughout within much of the central circulation. And comparing the 2 o'clock track with the latest satellite imagery, it looks like it has gone just a little bit south, and that's one of the things that we have been anticipating in the past day or so, because these bobbles, these deviations from the forecast track do happen, and especially being 600 plus miles away from the Marianas, it's something that should be concerning. It could result in some pretty big track changes, especially where it comes through the Marianas, whether it's north of Saipan, closer to Saipan, or elsewhere north or south. So it's one thing, we definitely don't want people letting their guard down, even though as of 2 o'clock, Guam is outside of the tropical storm force winds. A small change in track will bring those tropical storm winds or even stronger over Guam.
All right, let's talk about what the storm is doing right now. Can you give me an idea of how strong that is, where it is currently?
Absolutely. It has been intensifying pretty quickly overnight. It is currently, as of 5 o'clock this morning, 70 miles per hour, maximum sustained winds, moving west-northwest at about 16 miles per hour. To compare to last night and yesterday evening, it was moving northwest, and it was only 45 miles per hour in intensity. So this thing is intensifying. We're expecting it to become a typhoon later on this morning.
Yeah. What's it going to be in a couple of days when it's closer to the Marianas?
Right now, it's still looking quite plausible. We could be seeing a 125-mile-per-hour storm as it passes through the islands. So definitely a significant system, and one that everybody should be watching very closely and considering any type of preparations you might need to be doing, especially in the CNMI, but also Guam. Go ahead and get your preparation list together and know what you need to do.
And be prepared to move. Be prepared to move quick as the storm is moving a little bit faster. As you said, 16 miles an hour and intensifying on the run. We're anticipating what number is that? 125 mile an hour winds. It's Cat what?
I believe that's Cat 4, right, Brendan?
That is a strong Cat 3. Okay. Category 4 is right at 130 miles per hour.
Okay, there we go.
Gotcha.
And of course, to keep in mind, Typhoon Mangkhut back in September, that thing moved pretty quickly from eastern Micronesia through the Marianas. It never slowed down, and so that's certainly a possibility in with the case of this storm.
Yeah. Well, I'd hate to make comparisons between this and other storms. I want people to be very, very wary of what's happening. While it is still east and south of us, it poses a definite threat to all of the islands in the Marianas until it is well past us. So keep an eye on this thing and watch as it moves. Is there a new anticipated closest point of approach? I know that's kind of hard to gauge a couple of days out, but given the speed that this thing is moving.
Well, right now we're still looking at Wednesday evening. It's a little bit earlier than yesterday's forecast tracks. So we're looking at sometime Wednesday evening into Thursday morning. And when Joint Typhoon Warning Center puts out their next bulletin, it should be coming out probably within the next hour. We'll have the new track posted to our webpage and also our Facebook page before 8 o'clock this morning.
And a note to listeners that want to be involved and want to be a part of this, if you are going to post anything on any of the social media, the WhatsApps or whatever, please make sure that you pull down any of the obsolete images. Anything that was on the web yesterday is now hopelessly obsolete and will tend to confuse people with what this storm is doing. So pull that stuff off. If you feel like you have to put something up there, post a link to the National Weather Service, post a link to the Joint Typhoon Warning Center, post a link to Jeff Weather at Jeff Pirates Cove. Those are all great sources, and they're updated regularly, and people will be able to watch in real time what's going on. Speaking of watching in real time, we're really disappointed. Now would be a great time to have a working radar system, don't you think?
Absolutely. We're still in communication with the Anderson radar folks, and so they've had some success getting some parts replaced, but now we're working on a couple other little items. So we're hoping in several days we'll have at least some limited function of the radar.
Rudimentary capabilities to be able to see where this thing is going to be tracking through at least our neighborhood in the Marianas. So again, the storm about 70 miles an hour right now, and it's tracking 16 miles an hour on what we think is about the same track as it was yesterday. But we'll wait until JTWC comes out with their forecast track.
Correct. You got that.
Okay, got it. Listen, Brandon, always fun talking with you, and we'll do it again soon.
Thank you very much. We'll be here all day, all night for the next forever.
I imagine you might be. 6:18, and the operative word from the guy is, listen, you need to be prepared. This got all the earmarks of the possible monster. I'm not calling it super or anything, but it looks like it could be. The word somebody used online is formidable.
What's the storm that came through that kind of surprised everybody? Was that Pongsona, or was that a different one? It was the one where they kept saying it was going to miss us, and then it wound up actually clipping the island. And this is, I'm not saying that's going to happen, but it's setting itself up in the same mood. So everybody really needs to keep an eye on it and just stay abreast of the development.
Yeah. You know what? It's going to be one of those things, and where we're going to tell you all the time about being prepared. So start thinking about it right now. Fortunately, we've had a couple of close calls recently, and I think everybody's level of preparation might be up a little bit high. We know where the shutters are, we know where the pins are, and little clippy things. But maybe a trip to the store, get some water, some canned food, that kind of thing, candles, and start buying up all of those. I noticed they were able to replenish the supply of the little propane things that look like hairspray in the stores. I've noticed they've been able to resupply all of those things. So grab a couple extra, because you never know what's going to be happening. 6:19 in the morning, and the actual forecast for today might actually be a nice day. Partly sunny skies, isolated showers, and some thunderstorms you might expect later on. Northeast winds 10 to 15 miles an hour. Daytime highs 89 degrees and overnight lows of about 78 degrees. This is that time of year. You've heard the expression, if you don't like the weather, wait 5 minutes. It'll change.
That's right.
This is the time of year where we're talking about that. Blazing hot yesterday afternoon, and I thought, well, it's all right. I'm going to run out. I'm going to go outside and see if I can take care of a couple of chores on the outside of the house. Started raining. The second I started, it started raining in the backyard. And well, maybe not today. Daytime highs expected 89, overnight lows of about 78 degrees. Sunset tonight early at 5:57, and sunrise tomorrow morning at 6:12. That's news and weather together, brought to you by Bank Pacific, where others put branches, they place roots.
There's a reason every day a Guam homeowner is getting a solar system installed by Micronesia Renewable Energy. It's because MRE is the most trusted name in solar. With more solar energy solutions than any other solar company on island, homeowners have a choice to go solar for zero money down or take the path to ownership. Whichever way, it keeps our skies blue and your pockets green. And with the most experienced solar technicians and an energy production guarantee, there are no worries. Call 632-2613 for a free consultation. MRE, the smarter choice.
I never worry anyway. Micronesia Renewable Energy, had never been a better time to go solar. Also brings you portions of the show. American President Lines, they're shipping the future. Guam Regional Medical City, the first choice for all of your open heart surgery needs. And they're working on brain stuff, too. So you might want to talk to them about that, as well as, who's the last one? American Water Tech. Smarter water, better water.
The Ray Gibson Show. Morning talk that matters. Call now, 888-TALK. That's 888-8255.
I think I've got it all together now. I'm fine. The notes over here and scripts over there, and I got my phone stuff there, and the brush. I got to have the brush for getting the program started. Welcome to the program. Excuse the organized mess that I'm in the midst of right now. My name is Ray Gibson. I'm the host of the Ray Gibson Show here on 93.3 The Point, and joined by a couple of broadcast professionals, seniors in the industry, if you will. Michael Knight, who will get the phone when you call at 888-8888. If it takes him a couple of rings, it might be because we're actually doing a little bit more by way of weather coverage, as you might imagine here this morning. There's a bunch of places where Mike likes to go and see if we can get a kind of a back channel view of what's going on. Always nice to talk to anybody that answers the phone over at the National Weather Service, and so we're going to be watching that. Do me a favor, keep an eye on the JTWC site. So as soon as that new forecast track comes out, I'm going to be interested to see what it says, because it looks like the barrel of that gun moved a little bit. Do you get that same feeling?
And even Brandon said, it has tracked a little bit south of the forecast track overnight. And right now it's in what I typed it in our little talk here. It's in what we weather geeks like to call the embryo stage. If you look at it on the satellite, it looks kind of like a human embryo as it gets ready to make that ramp over in strength to actual typhoon. It's only 4 miles per hour below that threshold right now. So for all intents and purposes, this is
it's already it's a typhoon. Yeah. By the time we're done talking about it this hour, it should be a typhoon, and it's going to be in the neighborhood. What, tomorrow night he was talking about?
That's right. Yeah, tomorrow night into Thursday. So we are just a few hours away, 36 hours. I really expect that we will go Core 2 sometime today, just as a precaution. I think we should.
I got that. Really. I got that feeling. I think you're right. Between the two of us, we've been watching things like this in the last couple of months. I think we've gotten pretty conversant in the ways of the Department of Homeland Security and Civil Defense. Official news comes from the official sources, and our official sources, the Guam Daily Post. Kevin Kerrigan is their managing editor. Good morning, Kevin.
Good morning, Ray.
Are you ready for some weather here? Take our minds off of the off of the political gossip and other current events that are taking place on Guam.
Perfect timing, huh?
I got stuff to do. This is a busy week. I'm laying out. I'm thinking about doing some water blasting over the next couple of days. And you know what? I don't know. You want a water blast when it's hot, when you get the opportunity for grill marks, when people are yelling at you. For heaven's sakes, put some sunscreen on. That's what I was hoping for. I don't want to be doing this in overcast skies.
I have a totally useless conspiracy proposal here.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay.
I think one of the gubernatorial candidates created the bad weather. Who stands to gain?
Let's. I don't know. There's research now. There are numbers that we can look at. But I need you to do me a favor. Can you go to the KUAM website and pull up the first set of numbers that they did, Ron McNitch and KU? No, I've got the new ones. But where's the first set? Because what they're talking, this is the second set, and they had a preliminary set of numbers that came out before, like 2 weeks ago, something like that. And it's the one that had Lulian Guerrero at 65%, and I think those numbers have changed a little bit. She's still in the lead, according to this survey, but Lou and Josh at 58%, which is a different number. Tenorio Ada at 32%, and the write-in at 10%. And I can't remember what the original numbers were. I want to see if there's been any swishing around with Mike St. Nicholas and Doris Flores Brooks. Looks like a couple of people on the senatorial side have traded places, and if this works out to be true, then any of those predictions that we'd heard in the last few days about there being a significant Democrat majority at in the 35th Guam legislature will also be true. 10 Democrats to just 5 Republicans. Can you imagine the havoc that could be wrought if you've got a Democrat in Adelupa and a Democrat the legislature? Man, there should be no excuses for not being able to get anything done in at least the first couple of years of this. And if you ask anybody, they'll tell you the first couple of years of of whatever's going to be happening, any time after about January of 2019 is going to be an interesting time for Guam. What with all kinds of shoes that are going to be dropping and all of the other stuff. At 626. Well, instead of doing that, Mike, do me a favor, punch the button on the Cheers theme. And let's get that going. Everybody knows your name. I'm hearing something else.
Sometimes you want to go where everybody knows your name. And they're always glad you came. You want to be where you can see the troubles are all the same. You want to be where everybody knows your name.
I'm hearing voices here this morning, and it's freaking me out. It's 626, and let's take a look at who's lurking on the Facebook Live this morning. Mark Cruz saying, good morning, Rayman. Nice to see you. Johnson Nicholas says, good morning, all. What storm? the monster that's about 600 miles over on the east and south of Guam. Ted Lewis saying, morning, Ray, Kevin, and Michael. I see Linda Gabriel and Shelley Gibson and Ismael Velez, who says, good morning. Happy birthday to my beautiful wife, Lisa, who is not only a great mom, but also a talented photographer, and it's nice, Ismail, that the very first thing that you're thinking about this morning is her. Am I making you look good here? That's good. I hope you got something nice. What is it? Forever 21, or what's the name of the place over at Ganya Shopping Center? And she's going to say, come on, honey, those are for young, size 0 women. And then the answer is you say, you're not a size 0? What? What? Tommy Barcinas is there. Juanita Machi is there. Ken LG responding to a story that Kevin had from the Guam Daily Post about the folks over at the Guam Federation of Teachers lining up for Lou, isn't it? They're lining up for Lou. And I guess they talked to a bunch of people in the GFT and said, yeah, we like Lou. And they did a couple of things, not so much Ray, and absolutely nothing about Frank. So Ken's very interested in that, wondering the real question is how many stewards? Why didn't they poll members? I'm sure based on the number of conversations I've had with GFT members, the story would have ended differently because that's the way they want it. Dion Shinhara, and happy belated birthday to Ken. Dormy Fegerger, Jeff Ojeda is there. Tom Tahadzi. Debbie Wise says, oh no, I've picked up all of the broken banana trees from Mangold. What a mess my garden jungle will be. I'm with you. I'm with you. Things just starting to get cleaned up, and it looks like we've got another scare. But we're old Pacific hands, Debbie. We can handle this. Andre Bainham is there. Ron of Zahi. Andre, this should be a great morning for Andre. Despite, I guess, Frank's not going to be over at the UOG Great Debate. Can we still call it a great debate if one of the candidates aren't there? Is that possible? You found it. What a good man. Because otherwise I was going to give you an F for the internet. But anyway, apparently Cortec has abandoned their protest with the Department of Public Works, which should open the path now to Mark Mendiola and John Fernandez moving forward with their plans to handle procurement and all of the other things that are going to be required to make Simon Sanchez look like a brand new school. Well, I know that's asking for a lot, but hey, look what happened with JFK. That one only took, what, 7 years? Ron of J, he is there. Vivian Castro Leon, Lillian Cruz, Carm Leon Guerrero, Zena Latore. I just like the way it sounds off when it rolls off my tongue. Zena Latore. Henry Gonzalez, still lurking on Guam, running around, seeing family and friends he hasn't seen in a long time. Johnny Ray Tight to know, Enrico Blancaflor. Are watching on Facebook Live. So is Bill Pettit, Bob Lizama, Amanda Shelton, Marvin Ike Iseki. I got Anita Muffness there. Debbie again saying you can water blast in the rain when there's not much wind. I did last Wednesday. Yeah, but my preference is to do it so I get a sunburn. Anita Muffness with the Valentine's eyes. That's always nice to see. Anita, is that really you, or is that an alias account for Johnny Monster? Amy Jean Suda says, I'm watching. I'm glad. I'm here, and I'm really glad you're there. Joe Flores is on the Facebook Live. Francis Salas, who's it? Janice Mendiola. It's a big list this morning. Valerie Lynn Maigi and Mandy Pahela. Some names get me. Amy Jean Suda. And there's Mark Mendiola. I was just talking. Mark, we're going to call. If I don't call you by 6:36, you call me at 6:37. Tricia Beneventi is there, and Jermaine Alerta. Hey, Jermaine. I just like saying your name like that, Jermaine. 6:30. Oh, 6:31 already. Yeah, I know. They got things beeping at me all morning long, trying to keep me on track. I'll work on that. I know we're ready to build a new Simon Sanchez High School, and one of the big stumbling blocks has been removed from you, and that's a good thing. Andre Bainham, we were talking about the thing from the GFT. Andre says, teachers were never polled. The presser is a political joke. Yeah, but who's it on is the question. Who is the joke on is the question. It's 6:31 and time for headlines from the Guam Daily Post. Here's Kevin Kerrigan.
Half a day and good morning, Guam. In the headlines from the Daily Post this morning, a driver was pulled over for disobeying a posted stop sign over the weekend and arrested after a search of his vehicle led to the discovery of a modified shotgun, ammunition, and drugs. 35-year-old Derek John Punsalan found in possession of crystal meth, marijuana, a modified shotgun, 6 shotgun shells, and drug paraphernalia, according to the magistrate's complaint. In the vehicle with him were a female passenger and 2 children, ages 1 and 2. Punsalan was charged with possession of a Schedule II controlled substance with intent to deliver and possession of a modified firearm without a firearms ID. A 35-year-old man is behind bars after being accused of sexually abusing and impregnating a teenage girl, according to the magistrate complaint. The victim told police that her mother's boyfriend had sexually assaulted and beaten her for 3 years since she arrived on Guam from Chuuk at the age of 15. Wesser Wesson was charged Saturday with 3 counts of first-degree criminal sexual conduct and 5 counts of third-degree criminal sexual conduct. He's being held on $15,000 cash bail. Wesson was arrested last Friday after a store employee observed a disturbance between the girl and Wesson. The Guam Election Commission's $1,000 fine against a political action committee stands despite the threat of a lawsuit. Guam Election Commission issued the fine after the PAC People for Progress failed to file campaign finance disclosures. The information was also submitted to the Office of the Attorney General. People for Progress contends it is not under the purview of the Election Commission's disclosure law and therefore did not need to file finance reports with the Guam Election Commission. In response to the fine, the PAC's attorney, Jacqueline Terlahi, asked the commission to lift the fine. By October 19th, the PAC is considering a lawsuit if the fine remains in place. For these stories and more, log on to postguam.com or pick up a copy of today's Guam Daily Post.
Right on, I will. It's 6:33, 6:34 in the morning. That's iConnect time. Swing by iConnect and learn about why they are the practical choice. You'll find just incredible rates on push-to-talk and mobile and internet plans at iConnect.
My opponents have attacked me lying about who I am or what I would do as your governor. So I thought you should hear from me. These attacks are flat-out lies and meant to distract you from the fact that they have failed you all these years. I am the only person running for governor who is a mother, grandmother, and a nurse. The truth is, I believe that when making decisions about her reproductive health, a woman should be guided by her family, priest, or doctor, not the government. They also claim I have a conflict with Bank of Guam. The truth is, banking is a highly regulated industry, and I will follow the law as I always have. Josh and I have plans to stabilize our economy and promote real growth to make healthcare more affordable, to provide resources to our police and fire departments, and to truly make education a priority. I am Lulian Guerrero, and I approve this message because you deserve to hear the truth.
Paid for by the committee to elect Leon Guerrero Tenorio. Tony Sanford, Treasurer.
She's right. She is the only mother and woman and nurse that is running in the election. Although I've heard the phrase "mother" used around the other two candidates, but I don't think they're talking about quite the same thing. But it's 6:35 in the morning. Hi, it's the Ray Gibson Show. Is there traffic yet? Hold on, stand by. Let me look at the gizmo. Either the gizmo is broken or it's just still too early for there to be any kind of traffic. Oh, there it is. I found just there. Traffic building up just a little bit on Route 8 as you make your way towards the intersection of 8, 10, and 16. It does that from time to time, and I don't know if it's just people slowing down to see if they can get views of the fireman washing the truck with no shirt on. I don't know, but it looks like traffic is building up in that particular area. 636, that's right now traffic on the point.
What would you do with unlimited internet? With Docomo Pacific, the possibilities are endless. Docomo Pacific is throwing off the data caps so you can enjoy more of the things you love. Watch, stream, download, and play with no end in sight. Stop by any of our stores or check out DocomoPacific.com to learn more. Life becomes limitless with Docomo Pacific. Better together.
The Ray Gibson Show, your new News Talk headquarters. Call now, 888-TALK. That's 888-8255.
Once in a while, I kind of like to go behind the scenes on my Facebook Live and see what's going on, and it's nice, you know, when we get people that are recommending it. This is my favorite part, when I get people recommending the Point radio station to other people. My friend June Bells Carino has done that and has described us as an entertaining news station. An entertaining news station. And I hope so. It's kind of the goal here. Actually, the actual goal is to make a buttload of money, number one, and number two, to kill 4 hours a day.
Yeah.
And you know, you can do that, I think, with you know, with a very dry presentation of here's the morning news, and we'll have very kind of sterile commentary around some of these big news stories. But where's the fun in that?
No, I hear you.
I mean, because I want you and I to have the same kind of conversation as, you know, a couple of guys over the back of a pickup truck, you know, just shooting the bull over what they've heard, what they think is true, what's out there. And another note I got from Facebook. It says, who is it? There's a bunch of people that are watching right now, and Facebook is asking me to suggest to them that they like and follow the page. So if you could like and follow the page, that would be fantastic. Share. There's a little share button as well. And so I want you to click on that and then share it out to the world and let all the people that follow you that don't necessarily follow me and let them know about what a great place this is to hang out. We're on Facebook Live every morning. We're also on YouTube Live every morning as well. So those of you that are listening to the broadcast or watching the broadcast and are going, well, I don't want anybody to know that I'm watching this show. And for heaven's sakes, I work over at the Sorensen Media Group. I'll get in trouble. It's all right. Just go to the YouTube Live. You'll be able to watch. And you can see what the interaction is. I put that back up here, including Mark Cruz's reaction to me saying a buttload of money. Hey, honesty is the best policy. Sincerity is important as well. Once you fake sincerity, you've got it made. You can run for office if you do stuff like that. 888-8255 is a telephone number, and then the WhatsApp is going off like crazy already. 988-58740. Throw a couple of WhatsApp memes at you in just a couple of minutes. In the meantime, 20 away from the top of the hour, as I said, I consider this to be a major story. Cortec has walked away from their protest with DPW, and as far as I know, Mark Mendiola, that's about the last impediment to the Department of Education, the Ed Board, from being able to take over completely now the project that is the rebuild of Simon Sanchez. Buenas, Jen Hoffaday.
Hoffaday, Ray. Good morning. Getting prepared for parent-teacher conference today for the elementary schools.
I don't have any kids in the elementary school. I don't have to go. You can't make me.
I have two. So straight A's. I'm just proud of them.
Oh, nice.
The teachers and the schools. You know, my kids are doing really well.
Did you have the conversation with the kids and go, hey, look, dude, guys, I'm on the Ed Board. You have to get good grades.
You know what? My wife is to be credited for a lot of the stuff that goes on, but we have them in a good after-school program. So when we're all working together, man, we're you know, very successful. So I'm just glad that we have the time to just watch them grow and you know, get a good education.
Nice. Well, I'm glad to hear all of those things. I'm sure that they're going to get exemplary marks from the teachers. You know, as you have these conferences, it won't be like when my mom would go and sister would say, you know, Ray's a fairly intelligent guy, and he would do so much better if he only applied himself. If he only applied himself, right? So
that was me.
All of my life, I don't know what the heck you people are talking about. I'm here every day, aren't I? Isn't that applying it? Anyway, so let's go to the Cortec thing. Let's talk about that. Did you guys have outside conversations that led to this?
You know, I do know that the superintendent. We wrote a couple of letters a couple months ago asking the OTA. That was the last hurdle. That was Cortec and, the government, I guess they settled on whatever was, the dispute was. And now this just opens the pathway for us to get Simon Sanchez built. And I know that the board, along with the superintendent, want to get this done as quickly as possible. We requested it from the legislature a couple of months back to give us the procurement authority. I know including the superintendent, have taken all the procurement modules, the tests, and they've passed it. We're up to the challenge. I do know that the first set is to send out the RFP to. So we're breaking this up into pieces so that we, go through the whole process. It's going to be a transparent process. Try to learn from the previous procurement.
Yeah. Hey, listen, go call John Thomas Brown and just bring him in as a procurement consultant. And I'm sure I'm not going to say I'm sure he'd do it for nothing because he's a lawyer, but but this guy it help you steer clear of whatever some of the rocky shores are going to be moving forward with the procurement. It would be terrible to have lined up a great set of plans, great construction companies, and have access to the financing that you're going to need to be able to do this, and then run into another round of procurement hassles that prevents anybody from swinging a hammer for another year.
Yeah, and that's the thing. And that's I believe John and our our department that handles the procurement. I think we prepared ourselves as much as possible to prevent us from going down that road. I do know that we want to get it going as quickly as possible. Turn that shovel and get Simon Sanchez built, because the kids, it's going to take us a couple of years, I know, to get the school completed. So from start of the construction all the way to the time we open the doors for the kids. I visited the campus the other day, and we just want to make sure the campus continues to be safe for our kids, and that we're giving them as much support during the construction phase as well.
Yeah. Well, that'll be different. We don't have what we had access to in the past, and it would have been awesome if we still had this kind of spare facility floating around. With remember Teedson was kind of a nice little overflow place. We're doing work at JFK, send these kids over there. We're doing work over at GW, send the kids over there. But we don't have that anymore, so we'll have to do this work kind of on top of classes.
Right, and so I think that the superintendent, the initial plan is to build the school on a different footprint that's currently there. There's a lot of temporary rooms up at Simon Sanchez, so we just got to make sure that those classrooms are continue to remain functional, safe, that meet the standards, and once they get a new school, it'll be a thing of the past.
When do you suppose we'll be able to see some of the first work being done?
I do know that the superintendent wanted to work on the initial. I do know the legislature, I think it was Senator Frank Huggen, that authored the bill to start the initial A&E design.
Wait, Frank Huggen, the guy that's running as a write-in candidate? I heard about him.
Yeah, yeah, he was the one that actually championed that legislation, gave us initial funding for the A&E design, and so I do know that work's going to be the first one out the gate. So to our construction and those folks that are interested in doing that type of work, please look out for it. We're going to try and get this procurement going as quickly as possible. And, of course, we've got to follow the timelines, follow all the rules. And so, we're ready. Our students are ready, and our parents are ready. So
where's the rest of the money coming from? Because I recall, I can't even ballpark it, but I recall there was sufficient funds, I suppose, for the A&E that needed to be done for this new place. But I mean, that's just going to cover the blueprints. Where are you going to find the rest of the money for actual wood and rebar and concrete and light switches and air conditioning?
I believe, if I understand correctly, I believe it was a bond that was floated, and I think that money is held in trust until the construction can start. So I do know that that's already part of the overall government of Guam budget for DOE for actually the construction.
Hold on. You know how it works around here, right? So if there's any money in an account and the government has to do payroll, any funds are no longer safe. When was the last time anybody saw the bank book for that account?
I think it was one of the bonds that were floated, I think, for the purchase of for the reconstruction of the school. Remember?
Okay, so it should definitely be there, because if it's bond, then the people that gave us the money are going to be very interested to make sure that those dollars go where they're supposed to.
Yes, sir, that's correct. Absolutely.
Check anyway.
Yeah, I will, definitely. We're on top of it. I know the department's ready for it.
All right. Any word from the guys in Washington, D.C., third-party fiduciary agent? Are they ready to cut you loose?
Yeah, you know what? I do know that the superintendent and his team, we're trying to build an internal audit office that can kind of supplement or actually when the third-party folks leave, one of the things that when we were in Washington, D.C., they asked us, so what is this gonna what is it gonna look like when we leave? Is it gonna go back to the regular type of staff, or are we looking for transition into a new to good oversight of the department, so we don't revert back? And actually, the model that we currently have, we have an internal audit office that's run by Frank Cooperlers, and we built a lot of credibility and confidence in the department. with the U.S. DOE with respect to our audit findings. If you remember, one of the biggest challenges that put us in the first place was the unauditable books of GDOE. Now for the past couple of years, we've been had clean audits. Our books are good, and so we sent a supplemental budget request to the legislature, and we asked them to recognize these folks, and a lot of people are headhunting our good people, and unfortunately the internal audit office, our chief auditor is making an entry level at the OPA's office. Such a disparity. A lot of the autonomous agencies have auditors within their agencies, and they get compensated very well.
Well, I mean, go and look at the public Office of Public Accountability. They had some people out there, but even their budget numbers are in reverse. So BJ had to let a few people go, some real high profile folks as well.
Right. But when you're managing the largest government agency in the government of Guam, and we're trying to get off of this third party issue, we're right there. $3 million.
Well, call Yuka and hire Yuka. She's going to be looking for a job. Interview her. Call me later. I'll give you her WhatsApp.
Okay, absolutely.
All right. Hey, listen, Mark, I'm going to let you run. You'd mentioned Frank Uggan's name, and then I mentioned the write-in campaign and all of that. So he wants to chime in.
Oh, okay.
And I figured, the last time I had Frank Uggan on the radio, it was great. So I'm looking for some more fun here this morning.
Right on, Ray. Thank you for calling. And
no. I'm deeply interested in it, and as I said, that was one of the things. I knew that there was money coming your way. I knew that things were going to be happening. The legislature had approved the Department of Education and the Ed Board moving forward as the masters of this project, and there's a lot of confidence behind you and a lot of people that want to see good things happen, including Frank Uggan. So I'm happy to talk to you about it. This is as big a headline as, in my mind, as General Ben Blas being the namesake for the Marine Cantonment area. I think that's huge. Dude, I'll talk to you pretty soon. Let me bring Frank in while there's still time for him to give a hard time to Lou and Ray. Good morning, Frank. Senator Uggan.
Good morning, Ramon. I just tried calling you to thank Cortec and some of the other parties for dropping the initial protest that was ongoing, because now this would give the Department of Education the opportunity to be able to assume the responsibility of taking ownership of the procurement as well as the final construction or reconstruction of a brand new school for Simon Sanchez High School. And, one thing about this whole process, I think it's a great day for Simon Sanchez High School for many of the students. Unfortunately, some of the alumni had fought this issue, had been fighting this issue for the last 5 to 6 years, and I'm just very, very pleased to know that, in fact, now the process to move forward. You did mention funding. First and foremost, one of the biggest concerns that a number of us colleagues, some of my colleagues had in the legislature was, how much is this entire project going to cost? So we took a different approach, and we provided a funding allocation, $1.5 million from the tax amnesty from the last fiscal year, and then $1 million from this fiscal year's budget. So approximately $2.5 million has been set aside specifically for the A&E and some of the initial design work of the school. And then they will give us a requirement in terms of how much the school will cost. And then there's also an additional provision in existing law that would set aside up to $5.2 million a year from the Territorial Education Facilities Funds once the cost of the school is identified and a contract is entered into. So if you're talking about long-term funding, there's a mechanism in place existing in public law. The $2.5 million was specifically for the A&E and some of the initial work that needs to get done.
Well, explain to me a little bit about the money that you're talking about being set aside into the future. Is that something that is schedulable and can be turned into some kind of a vehicle for an anticipation note, like Eddie wanted?
Well, that's exactly what the purpose was behind it. Behind it is that approximately $5.2 million will be set aside from the Territorial Education Facilities Fund, which is going to be earmarked after the contract or a contractor selected to construct the brand new Simon Sanchez High School. Then the $5.2 million set aside will automatically kick in. And that would originate from the Territorial Education Facilities Fund and fund any long-term financing arrangement with either the contractor or with a financing company. So that's the option that the government of Guam has in terms of ensuring that the school is constructed within a reasonable time frame.
Okay. Now, a couple of other matters that I think are important. I did get a notice that you were going to be having public hearings next Monday, and this is important stuff here. I'm very concerned that I've got this feeling, this sweeping things under the carpet feeling, and so I'm delighted to know that there is movement here on a couple of measures that you've got that are looking specifically at the way things are done at the Chamorro Land Trust Commission on their leases and licenses.
Yes, and I'm glad you brought that up, Ray. I am having a public hearing on bills number 283 and 284 next week, Monday. One of the provisions would require public notification, inclusive of the mayor's offices, of any of the outstanding lease applicants who have not been entertained to date. And let me just give you just a general number from the year of 1995. Between December 3rd of 1995 to December 31st, there were, and this was just recently released, 4,607 applicants that were skipped. Today we have approximately 2,877 leases that have been, residential leases that have been given out to individuals and to families. So it says that the system is broke and something has to be done. So Bill 283 would require the public notification, make sure that these individuals who applied in 1995 and shortly thereafter, that there's no longer a skipping in the line in terms of their application. The second bill, 284, you alluded to, would require the governor to hire a local receiver who would have a background of having served as a judge in either Guam or CNMI. And the purpose behind this is to ensure that the law is followed. Because if the law was followed since day one, then all of these discrepancies, the void and the null and void that the Attorney General had identified as it applies to these leases would not be an issue because they are already requirements in law. So that would require the hiring of a local receiver and then also require the rules and regulations be enacted to address conflict of interest, to address personnel issues in terms of distribution of property to fellow coworkers or distribution of properties to family members and other issues that are necessary as part of the administrative process.
Now, Frank, hold on. Frank, before we get lost in too many details, Frank. Now, Bill 283 and 284, obviously, they feel like they're going to be rendered moot if there is action taken soon on Bill number 356, which would basically just allow for the resolution as proposed by the board of the Chamorro Land Trust Commission to say, hey, listen, the government screwed up, but we don't want to take it out on the people that've got the land, and so we're just going to go ahead and honor all of the leases that we have. We did our own investigation. We found no evidence of any kind of wrongdoing whatsoever, and it seems to me that Bill 356 would essentially, what's the word I'm looking for, negate any of the need to see anything coming out of 283 and 284. Do you feel the same way?
Yes, I absolutely feel the same way. And in this particular case, and one of the comments that I shared at the public hearing is that this is a trust. And my understanding of a trust is that it's quasi-independent of the government of Guam. So for the legislature to get actively involved and to ratify any decision of the Chamorro Land Trust Commissioners, it's to me, it's meddling into the activities of the trust. What we should do is pass policy, what the legislature should do is pass policy that sets parameters and sets guidelines in terms of how the trust should be administered. And then that responsibility should continue to lay in the hands of the trust. And I agree with you that having the legislature get involved to ratify the decision of Chamorro Land Trust is like sweeping the mess under the rug. And it's just disregarding the entire process and not recognizing that the law was broken.
And nobody is going to get held accountable.
Not only this executive director, but prior executive directors, and then some of the staff within the Chamorro Land Trust Commission. And that is at the heart of government corruption in terms of ensuring that, hey, if it's mandated by you, that is your job. That is your responsibility. If you're not following the law, then there's got to be disciplinary activities or actions taken to ensure that you follow the law or you're no longer involved in the process.
Don't disagree. I don't disagree. It's not my place to mete out that punishment, but it is going to be interesting. So is anybody? Did they actually deny your request on another subject? We'll move into political gossip here. Did you request for a position at the University of Guam Great Debate?
We have submitted a request for consideration to be involved in the University of Guam Great Debate, and we are awaiting response from the president.
I don't know if you're going to get it. I'm looking at there's a story. Janella
off in the last couple of weeks. So.
Yeah, I heard that. I'd heard that story that he was.
In the next few days.
Janella Carrera did a story last night on PNC talking about the great debate next week, and there's going to be a coin toss deciding which side of the stage they'll stand on. The team chose the left side. Leon Guerrero won the second coin toss and has chosen to enter the event second for opening remarks. Tenorio Ada will go second. The team will also answer questions second in the first round, while the in-team will answer. Doesn't say anything in here about Frank and Alicia.
Well, I think it's very unfortunate, first of all, as this has already been publicly announced that Lou and Josh do not want the Elgin Theocracy to be represented in any forum and any debate. I have no idea why they would take that position. We have officially filed notification to the...
Did you hear the recording of Friday? You heard the recording of Friday's program. I think that's why she didn't want to be in a forum with you.
No, if the truth hurts, then I'm sorry. In this particular case, the truth is going to come out. So it's just making sure that the people of Guam know and understand exactly what the individual teams stand for and what they will do as governor and as lieutenant governor. And I believe that Alicia and I have the best agenda and the most purposeful approach in terms of making sure that we address the issues and the concerns of our everyday people.
And one last political gossip question. This came to me last night. What? What? But it's not about you. It's not about you. It is just FYI, not sure you heard it, write in for MZB, for real.
I have not heard anything to that effect. And I believe that she just already nullified her statement by virtue of some of the videos that are coming out. So,
but she kind of called you. Yeah, she kind of said.
Concentrate. Alicia and I have to concentrate on our campaign. Make sure we get our message out. Let our people know that we are asking for their trust and their confidence to serve the governor and the lieutenant governor moving forward.
Okay, that sounds a little bit spinny, so I'm going to let you go. I'll talk to you pretty soon. Senator Frank Uggan with me on the line. Have a terrific day. We'll talk again soon, I'm sure. Radio station is KUSG. He'll get you. My name is Ray Gibson. Coming up, I've got Fox News Live. Kevin Kerrigan with the big stories. We'll take a look at what happened on the market. Jerry Roberts, and it's double shot of Jerry Roberts today. I'll explain that in just a little bit. You stay right there.
Just over 2 weeks to the midterms. I'm Lisa Brady, Fox News. President Trump hitting the campaign trail again, due in Houston later this hour to stump for former presidential rival Senator Ted Cruz. And he's expected to keep part of the focus on immigration as a mass caravan that started in Central America keeps heading north to the U.S. border with Mexico.
We have a lot of everybody in that group. It's a horrible thing, and it's a lot bigger than 5,000 people. And we got to stop them at the border.
President also threatening again to cut funding for countries he says aren't doing enough to help stop illegal immigration. President Trump also getting more specific today about his call for more tax cuts. Fox's John Decker live at the White House.
The president promising a new round of tax cuts for individuals and families after the midterm elections.
We're giving a middle income tax reduction of about 10%. We're doing it now for middle-income people. This is not for business. This is for middle.
House Republicans last month passed a tax bill that would extend tax cuts for individuals that under last year's legislation are set to expire in 2025. So far, though, the Senate has not expressed any interest in taking up that legislation. Lisa?
Thanks, John. The president says he is not satisfied with the Saudis' story that journalist Jamal Khashoggi was killed by mistake during a fight at their consulate in Turkey as the investigation of his death continues.
The latest comes from a Turkish broadcaster saying the police have found a car in a parking garage in Istanbul they say belongs to the Saudi consulate. Turkish authorities claim the footage shows a man transfer a package from that car to another car with diplomatic plates, and they're investigating this as part of the murder of Jamal Khashoggi.
Fox's Rich Edson at the State Department. Turkey plans to release more of its findings tomorrow. This is Fox News.
KFC has finally answered the world's most important question. What came first, the chicken or the egg? And the answer is both. Introducing KFC's KFC AM, their new Southern and local-inspired breakfast. AM-loaded platter with chicken fried rice, waffles, and Colonel's chicken congee. KFC also has your all-time favorites, AM chicken and egg wraps, Southern biscuit and sausage sandwich, and hash browns. So for finger-licking good mornings, AM will never be the same at KFC. KFC, it's finger-licking good.
It's important to have claims process that works for you. At Guahan Insurance Services, we make things simple and convenient. Same door you walk in to purchase your insurance is the same door you open to file your claim. We can't pretend that the car insurance claims process is fun, but we can promise a hassle-free and speedy recovery without any runarounds. For your home, auto, and business insurance, visit us at the Camacho Landmark Center on Marine Corps Drive in Tamuning. Don't forget to like us on Facebook or give us a call at 475-1162 or text 929-SAVE. That's 929-7283.
A major hurricane set to hit Mexico tomorrow, possibly just north of Puerto Vallarta.
Hurricane Willa off the west coast of Mexico is now up to a Category 5 hurricane with wind speeds of 160 miles an hour. Hurricane watches and warnings have been issued along Mexico's central west coast. The storm is projected to weaken to a Category 2 hurricane by the time it makes landfall on Tuesday. By midweek, the remnants of Willa will bring tropical moisture and locally heavy rains across Texas, which could add to ongoing flooding in the region.
Fox's meteorologist Adam Klotz. Central Texas still recovering from heavy rain and deadly flash flooding in recent weeks. Residents in Austin are under a boil water advisory to allow more time to get the drinking water supply back to normal. And the long, hard recovery from Hurricane Michael continues, now blamed for 39 deaths from Florida to Virginia. 4 more confirmed today in the hard-hit Florida Panhandle. Tesla CEO Elon Musk says the Hyperloop tunnel being developed by one of his other firms, the Boring Company, is coming soon. A December 10th opening set for the test section running under an L.A. suburb.
The trial tunnel starts at Musk's rocket company site in Hawthorne, California. Passenger modules will travel at a top speed of 155 miles per hour, which is faster than the 125 mile per hour test sled that took to the track last year. The idea of Hyperloop is simple. A series of sealed tubes will connect locations around the country. Inside the tube, the air pressure is lower, almost near a vacuum, so passenger pods will zip through the tubes at over 750 miles per hour, faster than a jet airplane. So far, tests haven't hit the 750 mile per hour speed, but certainly the trial tunnel will bring that reality closer.
Fox's Brett Larson. Daydreaming across America about the $1.6 billion Mega Millions jackpot, claiming the title now for biggest ever in the U.S. for tomorrow night's drawing. Nobody won Powerball over the weekend either. That's up to $620 million for Wednesday. Lisa Brady. And this is Fox News.
Taste the sizzle at Chili's with our new fajita flavors. Our signature fajitas are served with sliced bell peppers, caramelized onions, topped with chipotle garlic butter, and chopped cilantro. Build your fajita with over 16 ounces of tender grilled chicken, juicy steak, and a dozen pieces of seasoned grilled shrimp in the family fajita trio. All served with warm flour tortillas and fresh toppings like mixed cheese, guacamole, salsa, and pico de gallo. Experience bold, sizzling fajita flavors only at Chili's. More life happens here.
Alpha Day, I'm Madeline Bordallo. For over 60 years, I've spent my life serving you. Through the years, we've done so much. And those of us who have run for public office know that we run on our records and that we are judged by what we've done and what we've failed to do. My late husband, Ricky, imparted this teaching moment. In elections, we win some and we lose some. Personally, I know there's immense difficulty in defeat, but it doesn't serve the good of our island or our Democratic Party when we don't embrace the will of our people. So now more than ever, we need leaders who understand the issues and have a plan for the future. On November 6th, I'm voting for Lou and Josh, and I'm asking everyone who wants positive change to vote for them too. I'm in with Lou and Josh, so vote Democrat.
I'm Leon Guerrero, and I read this message.
Paid for by the committee to elect Leon Guerrero Tenorio, Tony Sanford, Treasurer.
Docomo Pacific is making the Better Together bundle even better. 2 great services plus more. Get unlimited local calls, SMS, and 20 gigs of data, plus unlimited home internet for $109 a month. Sign up today and get free installation and choose between a free Galaxy S8, S8 Plus, or $100 off select devices. Mobile plus online from Docomo Pacific. Better together. Some conditions apply. See store for details.
If you can dream uncommon design and unprecedented engineering, you define the 2018 Lexus. The boldly designed IS Sports Sedan's aggressive design stimulates the senses.
Advanced paddle shifting puts the exhilarating performance of the IS Sports Sedan at your fingertips. With deep, luxurious seating, the ES350 offers an ultimate level of comfort, while cutting-edge engineering delivers a thrilling drive.
Put yourself in a 2018 Lexus.
Now with special incentives.
At Atkins Kroll.
Half a day and good morning, Guam. News time here at The Point is 8 minutes past 7 a.m. this Tuesday morning. I'm Kevin Kerrigan. Here's a look now at some of the top stories from the Guam Daily Post. Guam welcomed 1,520,000 tourists in fiscal year 2018, making it the second best fiscal year in local tourism history. Fiscal 2017 remains Guam's best year for tourism when 1,550,000 visited the island. However, Japanese arrival numbers continue to slide. The once dominant Japan market, which used to account for more than 80% of Guam's tourists, now provides just 35%. South Korea, formerly in second place, has become Guam's main source of tourists with 49% of the market. Guam Visitor Bureau President Nate DeKnight congratulated the tourism industry on this latest milestone, saying it wasn't easy. North Korea's threats to fire missiles towards Guam in August of last year lowered arrival numbers, and airlines canceling service to Guam made it a tough year. But DeKnight said the tourism industry achieved great momentum in its recovery efforts, but noted we're not out of the woods yet. The Guam Election Commission's $1,000 fine against a political action committee stands despite the threat of a lawsuit. Guam Election Commission issued the fine after the PAC People for Progress failed to file campaign finance disclosures. The information was also submitted to the Office of the Attorney General for investigation. People for Progress contends it was not under the purview of election disclosure law and therefore did not need to file finance reports with the Guam Election Commission. In response to the fine, the PAC's attorney, Jacqueline Terlahi, asked the commission to lift the fine. The PAC is considering a lawsuit if the fine remains in place. We'll have more news after this.
Meet all the candidates up close and personal and find out why they deserve your vote. On Saturday, October 27th, you can meet them face-to-face during Micronesia Mall's one-on-one with the candidates. From 1 to 4 p.m., you can ask the tough questions, exchange views, express your concerns, or just get to know your candidates better. Hosted by Ray Gibson and broadcast on 93.3 The Point with the Facebook Live feed courtesy of Shooting Star Productions. Go one-on-one with the candidates. Saturday, October 27th, only at Micronesia Mall.
What are the benefits of switching to the handset payment option with GTA? For starters, you can customize a plan that matches your budget and lowers your monthly payment. HPO lets you upgrade to the latest phones whenever you want. No more waiting for a contract to end to get that slimmer, faster smartphone. Because with HPO, there are no contracts. HPO lets you design a phone plan that suits you. So join the thousands who have already switched to HPO, the most customizable phone plan on island. Limited time offer. Terms and conditions apply.
11 minutes past 7 a.m. here at The Point. The Guam Federation of Teachers is throwing its support behind the Democratic gubernatorial team of Lou Leon Guerrero and Josh Tenorio, the union making the announcement yesterday afternoon following a survey which found that 90% of GFT worksite stewards wanted to endorse Leon Guerrero and Tenorio. According to a release from the GFT, 68% of the stewards felt that Republican nominees Lieutenant Governor Ray Tenorio and his running mate Tony Atta would cause the most harm to their paychecks. The survey did not ask about the write-in team of Senator Frank Uggan Jr. and Alicia Limtiaco. Also yesterday, Delegate Madeline Bordallo publicly declaring her support for the Leon Guerrero Tenorio team in a video posted on the Lou and Josh Facebook page referring to the Uggan Limtiaco write-in campaign. She said she knows firsthand there is immense difficulty in defeat, but it doesn't serve the good of the island when we don't embrace the will of the people. A driver who was pulled over for disobeying a posted stop sign over the weekend was arrested after a search of his vehicle led to the discovery of a modified shotgun, ammunition, and drugs. 35-year-old Derek John Punsalan was found in possession of crystal meth, marijuana, a modified shotgun, 6 shotgun shells, and drug paraphernalia. In the vehicle were a female passenger and 2 children, ages 1 and 2. Punsalan was charged with possession of a Schedule II controlled substance with intent to deliver and possession of a modified firearm without a firearms ID. For these stories and more, log on to postguam.com or pick up a copy of today's Guam Daily Post. Ray and Mike now with a look at weather.
All right, it's going to be one of those partly sunny days. All kinds of unexpected stuff in the forecast. Expect that there is going to be some isolated showers, maybe even some thunderstorms today. Winds out of the northeast up to about 15 miles an hour. Expected highs warm 89 degrees and overnight lows of about 78 degrees. Sunset tonight 5:57. Sunrise this morning is at 6:12.
Yeah, if we get any rain, it'll likely be tonight, because right now we're under what's known as subsidence on the periphery of a tropical system. As it's well developed, you have high pressure around the periphery, and it creates sinking air, and you don't get much rainfall there, and then things start to slowly develop out of that. I sent you to the WhatsApp phone the latest track from JTWC.
Jamming it right now,
Yep,
buddy. Gonna
and,
stick it up online so everybody can see what the new forecast track looks
It
like.
hasn't changed a whole lot. Still, the storm, they're still forecasting steering currents to take the storm north of Saipan. So, for now, it looks like we're still in the same realm that we were before, just on the very outer edges of possibly tropical depression or tropical storm force winds. And again, I really think they'll do Core 2 later on today, just to be,
As
just
a precaution.
To be safe.
Yeah,
But I'm not the government. So
Got this thing out in the neighborhood. Well, I mean, there are things that would kick in at Core 2.
Absolutely.
You know, sending the kids home from school and releasing people in the offices. So they may not, depending on the threat. We'll have to watch and see. In fact, maybe if we get Jenna on the line, she might be able to provide us some kind of guidance there. 7:13. That's news and weather together here on The Point.
Hyundai Construction Equipment is sold exclusively on Guam by Morico Equipment, a market leader with proven reliability in large excavators, loaders, and forklifts. Morico Equipment, with 28 years on Guam, offers Hyundai Construction Equipment sales, rental, parts, service, and fully maintained lease finance. Hyundai Equipment is in stock on Guam. Equipment demonstrations are available on request. Contact Morico Equipment on Ipoh Road at 649-1946 or go to moricoequipment.com.
I know it. The Subway Chipotle cheesecake. Steak, not cheesecake. But that would be tasty. A Chipotle cheesecake. Can you I can taste it now. Huh? Can I start again? I'm going to start again. I'm just going to...
Remember all those times you were reading this copy and I giggled?
Yeah.
That's why.
Because I kept saying cheesecake?
Yes.
Oh, I can't charge the Subway people for that. Now they're going to know.
You made it sound better.
All right, so the Subway Chipotle cheese steak, it contains a concept called flavor. This flavor comes from juicy, shaved steak and Chipotle Southwest sauce. Available for a limited time only at Subway restaurants. Subway, make it what you want.
Calvo started with a simple handshake. As we celebrate 80 years, we extend a hand to all of you who have taken our hand in trust, to the dreamers and realists, the families, the businesses, the young at heart, and the old souls, our manumku and our children. From all of us to all of you, our deepest, happiest, and infinite thanks.
80 years here for you. 80 years thanks to you. Calvo's Insurance, a legacy of trust.
Portions of the program brought to you by our friends. Yes, our friends at First Hawaiian Bank, where it all starts with yes. But wait, there's more. Micronesia Renewable Energy. Never been a better time to go solar. Guam, regional medical city. First choice for all of your open heart surgery needs. American President lines their shipping the future. And American Water Tech. Smarter water, better water.
Ray Gibson brings you closer to the action. Watch and listen live on thepoint.gu.
All right, it's time to take a look at what happened in the market, and near as I can tell, and just from a cursory look at some headlines against Bank of America, let everybody down here. So the Dow Jones Industrial Average at 25,317, off by 126 points, but still banging over 25,000. I'll just point that out to you haters out there. NASDAQ at 74.68, 19 points higher than when it opened. That's always good. At least somebody's moving up. S&P 500 at 27.55, off by about 12 points here. And so, yeah, mixed markets, mixed closures on the markets. Wonder, all kinds of things that are going to have an impact on what's going to be happening with the markets. The question about the Honduran refugees that are making their way through Mexico towards the United States of America. Dennis Miller asking the question this morning, if they make it by the 6th, do they get to vote? And hashtag, not sure how things work around here anymore. I know the feeling. Japanese market, where are we at? 22,614. They're up by 82 points. The Hang Seng's up by 591. They're at 26,153. And the Shanghai Index up by 104 points. So the Asian markets are looking pretty good. Only thing is, who's got funds that are indexed to those markets? I used to have one that was indexed to Japan. In fact, I might still. I don't know. It was one of those sticking in the buy and hold category, and so maybe I'll check on the portfolio and see if there's anything in there that's worth looking at. Hey, West Texas crude, $69.25. That's nice. Lower than, in fact, that number lower than another index that I was just looking at a second ago. So that's good. West Texas seems to be moving in the right direction. And Tapas at $80.82. It kind of locked into that rate over the next couple of days until somebody kicks the Tapas and we get a new set of numbers. A buddy of mine was asking me the other day, because he believes in my ability to read English. He says, Ray, I said, yeah, because that's my name. He says, can I buy you a drink? I said, yeah, of course. He says, while I'm getting the drink, can you answer a question about Tapas crude? Is it possible that we are buying the most expensive crude oil that turns into, gasoline that is made from the most expensive crude oil on the planet?
It's close.
It only seems that way. It only seems that way. There are a couple of flavors of oil that are a little bit more expensive. Out of Russia, there's one called Sokol, S-O-K-O-L, and that one's trading today for about almost $83 a barrel. And then there's, I think of you when I see this one, because I can hear you saying it with your accent. Bonnie Light.
Bonnie Light.
Yes. In your Irish accent.
Oh, in my Irish.
Yes. Give it a shot. Could you do it now?
Kevin might be better at this. He's an actual Irishman.
Bonnie Light.
Bonnie Light.
$81 for a barrel of that. So just a little bit over Tapas today. So the answer is, yeah, we probably could buy more expensive oil. But again, we're talking about oils that are coming from someplace other than the fairly accessible and regionally friendly areas of Singapore. 7:19 in the morning. Jerry Roberts. And today is a double Jerry Roberts day. He's also in today's Guam Daily Post, which I don't have in front of me right now. What he's asking you to do in the Guam Daily Post, though, in his working notes, is to take the boss inventory. Now, he's talking about the boss. I'm not sure if he's talking about the boss radio station. Might be. I doubt it, because near as I can tell, we don't have anything to do with training and, got some brilliant employees there, but that's it. Take the boss inventory, read about that, and while you ponder your own boss inventory, listen to what he's got to say in this morning's Extra Point.
A couple of months
more for your book of don't. Here's Jerry Roberts.
To go in Extra Point number 138, I introduced the idea of compiling two books. One, the book of do, and the other, the book of don't. I'm Jerry Roberts, and if you've got them, prepare to make additions to your book of don't. Next, on the Extra Point. Sometimes we just can't get out of our own way, doing things that derail our chances to succeed. I've done it. You probably have too. Frankly, at one time or another, I think everybody is guilty of it. To your book of don't, add these. Number 1, don't hold grudges. Let it go. You're not going to forget, but do forgive. If you don't, it will close off all future opportunities with this person or company. Maybe they just don't see the situation like you do. Talk it out. 2, don't burn bridges. If you want to slam the boss on your way out the door after resigning, or anybody else, don't do it. Don't go on Facebook and bash the former employer. You might feel great for a while, but it can backfire because it doesn't make you look good and could influence others to avoid working with you. 3, don't air unnecessary opinions. Just because I have an opinion doesn't mean I have to give it. Sometimes the best thing to say is nothing. 4, don't talk down to people. Besides showing a lack of respect, read my lips. They will never forget. Someday, they may be in a position to make a decision where you are concerned. How are you going to feel when you realize a few snarky words you said years ago came back to bite you? 5, don't forget those who helped you. I have never met anyone who didn't have a long list of people who had a role in their success. Make sure they know how much you appreciate them. Number 6, don't trash the competition. This is wrong for so many reasons. Ready? If you compare your products or services to theirs and you inaccurately present their info, it makes you look unethical. You may want to hire someone from their team someday, but if you're the enemy, that may not happen. What if you lose your job? Will the competitor you hammered in an ugly way want to bring you aboard? And just so you know, most customers don't appreciate it when you talk down the competitor. They may also buy from them and like them. Number 7, don't focus on failure. We've talked about this before. Failure is a step closer to success. Learn the lesson, pick yourself up, dust yourself off, move on. When you come up short, use the experience as a stepping stone to get closer to where you want to be. I've seen people lose companies, and the next week or month, they were moving in another direction. I've seen others have a company fail, and years later, they still had not recovered from it. They were stuck mentally. And number 8, don't run from trouble. Bad things can happen that you may not be able to control. If there are others who will be impacted, let them know. Employees, bankers, creditors, customers, vendors, landlords, whoever it may be, just ask yourself a question. If I was in their shoes, would I want to know? These are not comfortable conversations by any means, but you need to have them. It's the right thing to do, and it will maintain your credibility. Adding a few new pages to your book of don't. That's the extra point. Get out there and make something good happen today. For 93.3 and the Ray Gibson Show, I'm Jerry Roberts.
There are a couple that I'm stuck on. Jerry, you're going to have to help me through this. Don't air unnecessary opinions. Just because I have an opinion doesn't mean I have to give it. Sometimes the best thing to say is nothing. Is useless for a talk show host, guy. So there's somebody in here that's got stacks of news in front of me and all kinds of comments coming in on the Facebook Live and in the WhatsApps and stuff. I was happy for a couple of years, waking up every morning and looking at the newspapers and going, I don't have to have an opinion about this. This is awesome. And then I got back into talk radio, and now I have to have an opinion about everything. And some people would say, well, it's too bad you got to do that. You got to give an opinion. You have to formulate an opinion sometimes on the fly about how you feel about things. So that one's going to be a little bit tricky for me. I like this one here. Don't run from trouble. Don't run from trouble. Good leaders will run towards trouble. You look for trouble and look for problems to solve, and don't focus on failure. All I can say on that one is amen. It's 7:24. If you want more Jerry Roberts, you go to GuamTraining.com and the World Wide Web, or go to today's Guam Daily Post and read up what he's got to say about taking the boss inventory.
At Guam Regional Medical City, it is our mission to become the island's premier choice for specialty care, like cardiology, pulmonology, neurosciences, orthopedics, oncology services, and more. We aim to protect our island from heart attacks, strokes, cancer, and diabetic complications. But should you suffer from such diseases, we're ready with world-class options, both inpatient and outpatient. For more information, visit us at grmc.gu.
7:25 in the morning, looking at the traffic gizmo, and I got a line of traffic that has gone from slow to just building, or just a bunch of cars out in around Big Navy and Sumai. Nothing in front of Navy Hospital. I'm looking at a line of traffic on Route 3 from the Ukadu area right to the intersection of 1 and 3, and that is going to be cause for people going to take a little bit of extra time to get through that intersection. Any other routes that you can use to avoid it? Unfortunately, cannot. Got a line of traffic now that is moving slow up towards the entrance to Anderson Air Force Base, southbound Marine Corps Drive. Not so bad. Up in Jigo, you might see a couple of things in front of the schools, but as you make your way towards Dededo, should be smooth sailing until you get actually into Dededo, and you'll find a few more cars, but they're all moving at the speed of light, so you're going to be okay. Route 10. Anything happening on Route 10? No, don't necessarily see anything on Route 10. Around Father Duenas, there seems seems to be a line of traffic that is beginning to build up in the Ta'i area, but it goes away by the time you get to the intersection of 4 and 10. Nothing at 10 and 15. Nothing so far happening at 8, 10, and 16. So at 7:26 is not a bad time to be on the road. That's right now traffic on the point.
Get a 20-ounce stainless steel Circle K Coffee Club tumbler. Just stop into any Circle K, sign up for our Power Pass rewards program, and after your purchase of 15 cups of premium coffee, any size, you get your tumbler for free. While supplies last, conditions apply. See store for details. Get a 20-ounce stainless steel Circle K Coffee Club tumbler. Just swipe your Power Pass key fob when you purchase Circle K premium coffee, any size, and after 15 cups, you'll get your tumbler for free. While supplies last, conditions apply. See store for details.
Studio time 7:27. Got headlines from Kevin Kerrigan coming up in just a little bit. And every once in a while, I like to take a look at the classified, see what's out there. You ever watch that movie Roommates? Peter Falk, maybe one of the most incredible movies the guy had ever done in his entire life. Cannot watch it without turning into just a bawling mess of tears at the end of it. But one of his favorite things to do was, the guy's like 85, 90 years old in the movie, but he played a guy named Rocky, and Rocky always looked at the classifieds to see what jobs were out there. He's a baker by trade. Polish baker by trade, don't you know? But what the heck, you look for opportunities where you can find them. And I was looking at, not necessarily for me. I'm happy in my position. I'm generally out of the door by about noon and into nap, and then I got all afternoon to do whatever I want.
Is this a subtle way of telling me something?
No. But perhaps, based on some of the surveys that I'm looking at, some of the like the surveys that have been conducted by golly, I've got surveys. I've got a couple of other things in front of me. There are going to be some people with prominent names that may be looking for other positions in the next little bit. Now, I'm not sure if these positions are still open, but they're the ones that spoke to me from a couple of days ago. Accountant, front office agent, reservation agent, guest service agent, cook helper. They're looking for workers at the Holiday Resort. At the Holiday Resort. Have you been to the Holiday Resort? Korean hot pants. Okay. And then there's Pooch Parlor hiring experienced groomers. And I know some people that have gotten pretty good at clipping their little their dog's hair. Because it doesn't take anything. They get some nice clippers and watch a couple of videos, and before you know it, you are not doing so terrible when it comes to being able to make a dog look like a well-groomed dog.
Are you sure the dog feels that way?
You ever see that? You ever see the before and after pictures? I swear it looks like what happens when our friends quit drinking. You can just tell by looking at it. So Pooch Parlor at gmail.com, 135 Pooch Parlor at gmail.com if you're interested in that. And here's another one. Reservations clerk, Korean speaking, A+, assistant maintenance manager, accounting supervisor, photo sales supervisor, cook, dishwasher, lifeguard, driver, cashier. Apply at Fisheye Marine Park or send your resume to Jamie at Fisheye Guam.
Wait, they're going to hire one guy to do all of that?
No. There's a variety of positions. Which one would you like? I would go for the photo sales supervisor.
Oh, they got a driving thing, right?
Where?
A driver, right?
Yeah, driver.
Yeah, that'd be me. I'm the driving kind.
I didn't know how that works.
Yeah.
It's standard. Could you do that?
I can do a standard.
Oh,
yes, I can.
Speaking in code, yeah. We'll write in cursive and drive in standard, and we're the only ones that can do anything in this new millennium. Anyway, so there looks like they're doing some hiring over there as well. So if as I say, if you are looking at some of the surveys that have been taken, and I've got the first set of surveys that KUAM did with the guys over at the University of Guam, and then I've got the second set of surveys, and I might do this top 40 style, right? I might go through this and do it top 40 style. Now, remember, like Casey Kasem in the American Top 40, it's the Guam Top 15 here on American Top 40. Therese Terlai holds on to her #1 spot, followed by Talana Cruz Nelson, who's up a little bit, down. Regine Bisco-Lee, Mary Camacho Torres goes up, Will Castro goes up, Tina Muñoz Barnes drops a couple of positions, so does Joe S. and Augustin, but they're tied for 6th place. Can you do that in an election? There's no ties. I mean, they'll both have the same numbers, and then they'll end up being members of the legislature and just push everybody else down. Because if you look at the way they did this on KUM, it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, all the way to 15, and Jose Pedro Turlai is probably going, hey, I'm in the top 15. I'm in the top 15. Hold on, Lay. There are two ties. There's a tie there for sixth place with Tina Rose Munoz-Barnes and Joe S. St. Augustine. There's also a tie between Clint Rigel and Jermaine Alerta.
I have a question.
Go ahead.
What about after the general election that there would be a tie for the 15th legislative spot? Then we're looking at a runoff, right?
Certainly,
last time.
Yeah, certainly a recount.
That's happened, yeah.
They'll get close enough, and yeah, we can do a runoff or something like that. Like I said, we'll find out who the next governor is going to be sometime later, sometime around Thanksgiving. I think is what we're going to be shooting for. Hey, look, at 7:32, Kenna LG is actually in the building again. What's wrong with the locks on the door? Did somebody leave the thing open? You guys went out for a smoke and you left the lock undid? Anyway, so he's in.
No, he picked it. He
did?
Yeah, no, he's
oh,
good.
Talent.
Good.
Okay, so the cleaner's going to be in the studio here in a couple of minutes, and we're going to be talking about surveys. So stay close, stay with us. You're listening to The Point, 93.3, and headlines now from the Guam Daily Post with Kevin Kerrigan.
Half a day and good morning, Guam. And the headlines from the Guam Daily Post this morning. A 35-year-old man is behind bars after being accused of sexually abusing and impregnating a teenage girl. According to the magistrate complaint, the victim telling police that her mother's boyfriend sexually assaulted and beat her for 3 years ever since she arrived on Guam from Chuuk at the age of 15. Wesson charged Saturday with 3 counts of first-degree criminal sexual conduct and 5 counts of third-degree criminal sexual conduct. He's being held on a $15,000 cash bail. Wesson was arrested last Friday after a store employee observed a disturbance between the girl and Wesson. The Guam Election Commission's $1,000 fine against a political action committee stands despite the threat of a lawsuit. The Guam Election Commission issued the fine after People for Progress failed to file campaign finance disclosures. The information was also submitted to the Office of the Attorney General. People for Progress contends it was not under the purview of election disclosure law and therefore did not need to file finance reports with the Guam Election Commission. 41-year-old Thomas Ray Camacho Uggan has been arrested for allegedly raping a woman known to him. According to the magistrate report, the 29-year-old victim telling police that Uggan forced himself onto her despite repeatedly telling him to stop. Uggan was arrested and charged with 3 counts of third-degree criminal sexual conduct and family violence. For these stories and more, log on to postguam.com or pick up a copy of today's Guam Daily Post.
Just a note here, got to be careful on the roads. My friend Marissa Maria Caldeo is not one to be trifled with this morning. And she was happy last night. We were talking about getting married because she wants to make beef shank and San Miguel Light and lumpia. That's a desirable woman. Just saying. Anyway, she says, dudes, you're lucky I'm being nice today. Otherwise, you'll hear me honking. You do know you can turn your signal left to right, right? It's really not that hard. Or do the sign language thing. Too early for this. Need my coffee. I hear you. 7:35 in the morning, and I'm the guy in front of you that's not doing the turn signals. It's 7:35. That's iConnect time. Swing by iConnect and find out why they are the practical choice, or give them a call later on. I know how busy you are, and we know you don't want to get stuck in traffic behind a Yahoo doesn't know how to use their turn signals. So call them at 888-8888 and ask them about the great rates on push-to-talk and mobile and internet plans.
Here at APL, our core values give the company its heart and soul. Whether it's connecting your business with our global network through our newly enhanced service or investing our efforts into giving back to the community, APL is committed to serving you. We humbly honor the opportunity to find innovative solutions for you and your business. To learn more about our enhanced service, call 588-4651 or visit www.apl.com/Guam for more details.
I think I'll do that. I think next time I walk into Crust, the guy's going to look at me, hey, Gib, can I get you a drink? I say, yeah, give me a Bonnie Light. Thank you so much. Swing by Wendy's. There's no body light at Wendy's, but you can have the Wendy's Awesome Sawsome Sauce, which is so popular, they're putting it on a burger. The new Sawsome Bacon Classic Cheeseburger, stacked with applewood smoked bacon on a beef patty, melty cheese, all your fixins, and now Wendy's signature Sawsome Sauce. The new Sawsome Bacon Classic. Have it single, double, or triple formats. It's a burger worth bragging about it. Wendy's, quality is their recipe. Right now, traffic happening in front of Anderson Air Force Base. Watch out for traffic slowing down around there. The traffic between Route 1 and about where Estumbo is pretty heavy, and there's some places where it is moving slower, definitely around the schools. Also watching traffic beginning to build at the Chicken Joy intersection, all the way up to the intersection of 1 and 3. Chicken Joy, again, a reference to the new Jollibee that is going to be opening up soon in front of the Micronesia Mall. And since they serve a product called Chicken Joy, therefore, new name, new intersection, the Chicken Joy intersection. You'll also be able to see traffic beginning to get a little bit heavy in Manila out near the Payless. And as I said, Route 10 and 15, that intersection there, it's got the dumbest light on Guam, and I think it's in extra dumb overdrive mode right now. Traffic coming out of routes. Moving towards 8, 10, and 16. I was going to say from around Teeds and through there, traffic looks like it's building up, and you also see traffic building up in front of the venue and Pokey Fry down in the downtown area. So far, nothing in front of Navy Hospital, and a little bit of traffic at Sumai at the intersection where Infusion is. It's 7:38. That's right now traffic on the point.
If you can dream uncommon design and unprecedented engineering, you define the 2018 Lexus. The boldly designed IS Sports Sedan's aggressive design stimulates the senses.
Advanced paddle shifting puts the exhilarating performance of the IS Sports Sedan at your fingertips. With deep, luxurious seating, the ES350 offers an ultimate level of comfort, while cutting-edge engineering delivers a thrilling drive.
Put yourself in a 2018 Lexus.
Now with special incentives.
At Atkins Kroll.
Accounting for ties in a couple of places on the list here. The latest from KUAM and Dr. Ron McNincha students at the University of Guam. As I said, it doesn't look like there's too much that has changed between Lou and Josh and Ray and quote right in. We've also got the race between Mike St. Nicholas and Doris Flores Brooks. Not a whole lot has changed there. Leaving Camacho and Doug Moreland. Leaving still enjoying a pretty comfortable lead. Now, it does look like there have been some changes in what could be the construct of the 35th Guam legislature. Last time I looked at it, the numbers were different, and it's supposed to have a little bit more Republicans in there. It was going to be a little bit more even, about 7 and 8. Now it looks more like 10 and 5, if I'm reading everything correctly. At number, in fact, I'm going to try to avoid giving you the numbers. I'll just give you the list the way it looks now. Therese Terlahi, Chelena Nelson, Regine Bisco Lee, Mary Torres, Will Castro, Tina Munya Barnes, Joe St. Augustine, Louise Munya, Jimmy Moylan, and Amanda Shelton. Then the bottom 5, Amanda Blas, Clint Rigel, Jermaine Alerta, Kelly Marsh, and right there at the bubble, with only a couple of votes separating her and Kelly and Julia Santos up or down, is Telo Taitagui. And that's the way the top 15 are looking based on the recent set of numbers that we've gotten. As I said, not too far off from what we're seeing in what we saw in the first one. And I don't know how this jives with other bits and pieces of research that are floating around, but it's nice to at least have some access to numbers as we peruse some of the political gossip that we've got floating around here. I am interested to see not necessarily significant changes, because none of the placements seem to be moving around very much, but the numbers are changing. Lou and Josh originally had 63%, and now they are down to 58%. Tenorio Ada had 33%. and now they are at 32%. And write-in was at 4%, and now they are at 10%. And so obviously something has happened since then, and that something is, as we were all kind of waiting for happen, Frank and Alicia decided that they were going to participate in a write-in campaign. Ken Leon Guerrero has found the radio station. Morning, Ken.
Good morning.
And happy belated birthday to you.
Thank you very much.
Hey, that's a cup of coffee you got there from 76 Circle K.
Yes, it is.
Yeah, which one did you get? Which of the candidates that are vying did you get?
I got the write-in cup.
How about that? What a
surprise. And I was 2 out of 3 this morning over at Airport Mobile. The third person drank the wrong coffee and got a red cup for some reason I don't understand. And despite my trying to give him a card, he refused to change his jacket before he went to the cash register.
Anybody we know?
No.
No.
All I know is he works for a taxi cab company.
7:41 now. You're in the studio, and just for clarity, I did not invite Ken, but we have from time to time, as in the last couple of weeks, Frank Huggins found his way to the radio station uninvited, but I'm a gracious host, so welcome to the program. Excuse the mess. Wipe your feet.
Thank you very much. And the reason why I wanted to drop in was about the news story of GFT endorsing Lou. Because when you look at that combined with the KUAM poll of 238, let's go back to 2016.
Well, we're gonna don't throw too many numbers at me. It's Tuesday morning.
Okay, in 2016, the KUAM UOG poll predicted at most 1, maybe 2 positions would change, and 7 positions changed. And this goes back to the small numbers. When you're doing polls on small numbers, it skews the results wildly. When we were doing a survey on diabetes when I was working with the NCD, after the first 350, I was so depressed because it looked like 72% of the people on Guam had diabetes. But by the time we hit the 1,500 mark, it dropped down to 38%. By the time we hit the 2,000 mark, it dropped down to the 35%, which matched up with medical records from a number of institutions. So, a 238 number is really, as far as I'm concerned, on something like this, insignificant. Now, actually, this, I think, is more...
I want to say that you can get within repeatability and things like that. Around 350 or so should get you about 95%.
But the problem is how they do the poll. You see, when we were doing the diabetes poll, we were out in general populations. We were, we went and did the Paseo, on a weekend. So you had a wide range of people, and we did it all at the same time in a fairly large locations like the Paseo and up at Tejan, the walking path.
Yeah, so intercepts and interviews as opposed to, somebody online that might be answering or a kid that's trying to get as many
of these. Or sequential phone numbers.
Yeah, things like that.
So... But, that's the important thing is because what we're seeing is a lot of advertising claiming that these candidates are the people's choice. And they're not the people's choice. The general election is the people's choice. What we saw in the primary was the party's choice. And the party's choice was 15% of eligible registered voters.
Well, if you don't like the way Ron and KUAM conducted the poll, if you're not happy with the methodology, if you're not happy with the number of people that have been surveyed, then I will be more than happy if you put it in my hand. Where is your research?
This is the closest thing I've got to research, and as you've admitted on the radio several times, it has been fairly accurate over the years.
I don't know how accurate it is going to be this time, and all polls are designed to fail in my mind. So yeah. I'm just saying there's absent any other data, any other polling information, and I'm sure that the camps are doing their research. I'm sure that Lou has got people. Joe Bradley is probably doing the stats on their numbers now, and I'm sure that Ray and his people have got some numbers that are floating around, and so I'm kind of curious as to see what those are. I will submit to you that I did get a note from somebody whose opinion I trust, generally because it's always backed up with data, who says what he is looking at seems to foretell a write-in. I mean, not a write-in, but a runoff. He says there's definitely going to be a runoff, but we don't know who the two people are going to be in that runoff right now. And based on what we're seeing, even in the worst case scenario, if these numbers are completely off, then it's still going to end up being Lou and Ray.
Well, that's where we differ, because in our interviews and talking with people in the field, we don't run into a lot of Ray supporters. We run into a lot of Lou supporters. We run into a lot of Frank supporters. We don't run into a lot of Ray supporters.
Go find more Republicans. Hit the cafes.
Yeah.
They're not at the gas station.
Stop going to the gas station.
Go to the cafes and find the Republicans and the GOP voters out there, because I'm still seeing it. I kind of got to play devil's advocate around here, but I'm still seeing a lot of cars with the BOTA stickers on them. Despite a
hey,
whole
we
lot
saw
of
that rally Sunday. Driving up
rain or
Marine
shine,
Corps Drive.
people showed up, right?
Yeah, but I go back to a story because one of the people I talked to had a big sign in the back of his truck, and he was for a different candidate.
Mm-hmm.
And I asked him, well, what about that? And he looked me in the eye and said, that's because I have to, not because I want to.
Oh, well, there's all of those stories floating around.
Yeah,
people getting fired for showing up at different rallies or being seen at different rallies.
There's a level
to me
of...
that Tom Fisher has never met anybody he did not suspect was in with Lou. and now wants them all to recuse themselves everywhere.
So that's why we're looking at the anecdotal information. I mean, we printed 14,000 cards. All those cards were gone in a matter of 4 days. Then we printed another 10,000. Those cards were gone in 5 days. We printed another 10,000. I've only got 2,500 left.
Make sure that Limtiaco is
demand.
spelled correctly. Take a look at it, because somebody sent me a picture of one of those cards, and Limtiaco is spelled L-I-M-T.
Pass them out to your friends and family.
IAC. Okay, these are correct. Actually, I can't. I thank you very much. I appreciate it, but
well, at least you were able to verify that there is a correct spelling.
On that one, they're spelled correctly. 7:47 in the morning. Commentary from Facebook Live, and it's always fun to have folks. Chris, you ought to just call in. Chris from Big and Better says, no matter what metric you use, Frank had less votes than you. Bruce Dinsman with an interesting point. Boy, were the Democrats stateside surprised in 2016 when they only listened to the CNN polls, and the CNN polls have traditionally, most media polls traditionally skew a little bit more Democrat, because they think that's where that we're going to find some additional that they think that is a better, more accurate reflection of what's actually happening among people and their identified politics. So they spent a lot of time talking to people with a heavier emphasis on Democrats, and naturally they all said Hillary is going to win. And as we know, the cold light of day brought us the orange head.
Yeah, but it goes back to they have a different system there. They have something called the Electoral College. So,
I remember that. Yeah.
So even though Hillary got the popular vote, she didn't get the electoral vote.
Yeah, and even Chris says that Trump lost by 3 million votes, but again, it's the Electoral College, and the only time people don't like the Electoral College is when their candidates don't win. When they win, they're like the Electoral College. Let's keep that around for the rest of humanity and life, and as we know it. But when their guy loses, oh my God, we've got to get rid of it. Call for a constitutional convention. Heck, we'll just call for people to arm themselves.
But fortunately, here on Guam, we don't have an electoral college to deal with. It's all direct representation.
888-8255. Anita Santos is lurking, making popcorn right now. So is Dave Duenas. Another point that Chris makes, and he's mentioned this a couple of times, where it's almost starting to feel like a cliche from Chris. I'm not hearing it from a lot of other people. Is Frank working with Ray? Are they in cahoots? Is there a conspiracy?
He's the only one that thinks that. And let's see. He keeps wanting to know how much Ray is paying me.
Yeah.
Well,
how much is he paying you?
Not paying me a thing.
Got a deal going over at Cortec?
No, I'm afraid not.
Are you currently unemployed?
Yes, I'm retired.
Oh, there we go. Dr. Vince Akimoto's on the line. You want to talk to him?
Sure.
Doc.
Hello.
I'm here. It's your turn.
Oh yeah, sorry. I'm trying to get out of the house, and I'm hearing Ken Leon-Guerra, and I'm thankful he's on the air to clarify polls, because it is confusing. It does sound like the old slogan about lies, damn lies, and statistics, and we're just going to have to wait until there's a real.
Well, no. I give you the results of some poll work that was done recently. Wait. No, it's a Catholic committee. These are Catholics. Catholics never lie.
Okay. Well, no. Wait a minute. Okay. Before you do that, could we just reflect on the fact that Madeline Berdalio just endorsed Lou and Josh, and I think that skews a lot of polls, because whatever you say about Madeline or the Catholic Church, they do have a bit of a supernatural pull it seems, on a large segment of population. Even if Madeline lost to Mike Nicholas, where there might have been some conspiracy there with the Republicans, she got a heck of a lot of votes. And so it does seem like there is a possibility that Madeline's endorsement is going to skew any poll that was done last week.
You're right. It is a possibility and a recent addition to the conversation, the political gossip conversation, although everybody that I've talked to said, yeah, need endorsement. Where's your endorsement for Mike Nicholas?
Yeah, well, that's the thing, is that she didn't endorse Mike Nicholas. She endorsed Lou and Josh, and it does seem like that powerhouse politically is going to have to be contended with, because again, if she says that Frank is not being a good Democrat, I think that does affect some of Frank's supporters, because Frank's supporters by and large are good Democrats. They just feel that they weren't heard in this last election. No. Again, I would argue that it's not too late for Alicia and Frank to sit down with Lou and Josh and figure out how to make this work, because otherwise Ray's going to win.
Interesting prediction.
Yeah, very interesting prediction, but one I think has a very low probability, because even before the primary.
I'm not going to say anything about probabilities. I'm just saying it's an interesting prediction, and every little thing is going to sway votes around. But I don't think it's like that movie Independence Day. We hit the alien spaceship with everything that we had. It still wasn't enough to bring it down until we found some guy that did the "I'm back" thing in the jet that flew up the tailpipe of the thing. You know what I mean? So I don't know that there's any one particular camp, and I'm certainly not seeing out of Frank and Alicia that is doing the up the tailpipe thing, going, "I'm back."
Okay, you lost, I think, half the audience, because most of them were born after.
Everybody's watched Independence Day. Everybody's watched that movie. Come on, they made
it's kind of like Top Gun, Everybody's seen Top Gun several times.
Or every version of Star Wars. Okay, we got the thing. You got to take it apart from the inside.
Titans now. You guys are way off. But hey, just so that we make sure that this matters, this is not just political banter. The hospital is a political entity, and apparently, according to Frank, he wants to keep it a place for political patronage. He has no intention of firing anybody.
No, that's Lou and Ray.
No,
Frank is the one that wants to bring in a receiver.
On the air on Friday, he said he has no intention of letting any of these people who are apparently there for life have any way to get out. So again, let's just be clear. This is about the hospital. It's about the schools. It's about making sure Guam gets better. And if Frank's solutions are the same, don't vote for him.
Well, Frank's solutions have consistently been to bring in a receiver and to have a receiver take over the hospital like the receiver took over the landfill.
Sir, we've agreed on many, many things, but I think if you were at the last debate, you heard, and it was supported by the people there, having a receiver is basically telling all the hardworking people at GMH that you're incompetent and you need some white person from the state to tell you how to do your job. They did that with the dump.
Wait, what's wrong with white people?
Yeah, okay, I'm sorry. Okay, okay, whatever. But hey, so the point is, let's just do this right and do it ourselves. There's no reason for an outside person, and I'm sorry to any white person who takes offense, that we need to do this.
We've been doing it ourselves for 30 years, and this is where Socrates, if you always do what you've always done, you'll always get what you always got, applies.
The political patronage position that Frank has taken is idiocy. You're right. I wish you wouldn't humiliate my friend on the air, but it is insanity that Frank would think that having government employees' lifetime protected more than my patients is okay. That's just a dumb idea. But yeah, you said it, not me.
What do you? Wait a second. My producer's pointing at something. Oh, Romeo's on, too. Oh, this will be fun. Yeah. Romeo, you're on with Dr. Vince and Kenley Unguerrero, and I'm just going to sit back and chew on some popcorn.
Oh, geez, I didn't know if I'm making the choice.
We're making way for you, sir. Come on.
I just wanted to comment on something Dr. Okamoto said regarding Madeline Badallo and Syndrome. If you really look at what's going on, this election is coming down to a choice between politics and people, literally. And what we see happening are people who are more focused on the power of institutionalized politicians and then the structure itself, flocking to Lou. Madeline Badallo is a consummate political player, and having endorsed Lou just demonstrates that basically everybody with the machine mentality is on that side. And the call by people like Dr. Akimoto and other inside supporters, to skew opinion using media to that political focus on her end of things really is, demonstrative of what we have to choose between this election. Do we choose empowering the institution over people, or do we put government back under the control of plain people, regular people, the average voter? And, I appreciate Madeleine Badallo's work in the Congress, and her endorsement is nice, but there's a bit of, I don't know, there's just a distaste to the whole thing, where you can go out of your way to be recruited to support a standard bearer for the Democratic Party, but you remain absolutely silent on your support for a Democratic congressional candidate. And at the same time, we have this dialogue of unity that just really echoes hollow and shallow, just untrue and inauthentic. And that's been the biggest problem with the Lil Josh campaign moving forward. She stood on the stage last Thursday at the Hyatt and discussed the idea of tax breaks for smaller clinics, and it just kind of reminded me then how that would be the position Dr. Akimoto had been wanting, and how upset he was because he was not allowed a quality QC. And you can almost see the deal, the buy-in that's being structured. And it's time that we just put all that behind us, just end it. Let's get back down to politics. Chris Carrillo calling in, and Derek Kanata, and all the other inside strategists who keep insisting publicly that they're not on the campaign officially, really do a disservice to us as voters, because we need to have real discussion, honest discussion, open discussion, and not all this backdoor deal making and spinning and
Well, that's why I like being on the radio and being able to answer the phone, because I think this is cool, real talk that we're having about the election. Unfortunately, as you know, Romy, and I'm going to let you run. As you know, the problem that we have in this time is that everything looks like a deal. That's the hammer we're holding, and everything looks like a nail. And if you see somebody here, you go, the deal is on, the fix is in. As I said, you think about Tom Fisher, who has never met anybody that he did not think was an in supporter, and therefore on the enemy's list. So I've only got a couple of minutes left. So Vince, did you have anything else that you wanted to add?
No, that was pretty cool coming from a media consultant like Romeo Carlos. Obviously, we want to have this out in the open, and I think it is better that free-speaking people like myself and Mr. Leon Guerrero are participating. You're talking to a couple of citizens, one who's retired and one who's working really hard to pay his bills. We're not politicians. Ken's not a politician, neither am I. I think the people of Guam are tired of politicians saying one thing and then doing completely another. And in Frank's case, he allowed the taxes on food and medicine to go up. You're now paying 5% GRT for the privilege of doing business on Guam, or the privilege of getting sick on Guam. Shame on Frank for saying that that's more important than reducing the government payroll. This is a time of great importance, and everybody should participate in the conversation. And the point is an important forum for doing so, and we really thank you for being an unbiased and neutral area that we can all talk.
Well, it's a fun place. It's a fun corner to be in, the neutral corner, and I do my best to stay there. 7:59. Vince, I'm going to let you go. Ken, you started it. You get the last word.
Well, the last word is Frank also was the one who voted against the business privilege tax increase and voted against the budget, and he was also the only one that stood up and said we need to bring in a receiver to run the hospital if we're going to get the same kind of improvement that we saw with the landfill operation.
Radio station is KUSG Agana. This is 93.3 The Point. My name is Ray Gibson. That was Ken Leon Guerrero, and we had Vince, and we got Romeo in there. And now the running skirmish on Facebook Live. This is going to be fun for the next couple of minutes. Forget the Fox News. Watch what's going on the Facebook Live chat side. Stand by. Fox News Live coming up next. We got Kevin Kerrigan from the Guam Daily Post and sports.
Cutting aid. I'm Lisa Lacera, Fox News. President Trump again saying he will reduce aid to Central American countries like El Salvador and Honduras over a group of thousands of migrants headed for the U.S. border.
We have been giving so much money to so many different countries for so long, and it's not fair and it's not good.
Earlier today, tweeting that he's alerted Border Patrol and the military that it's a national emergency. The president making the comments this afternoon on his way to Houston to campaign for former rival Senator Ted Cruz.
He's not lying, Ted, anymore. What is he beautiful, Ted? Beautiful. Texas. I call him Texas Ted.
Cruz is in a tight race against Democrat Beto O'Rourke. 1 week after a teenage girl disappeared in Wisconsin after her parents were found dead, police give an update on the case. Fox's Gernal Scott has more live.
Lisa, the search for 13-year-old Jamie Kloss continues in Barron County. The community there is now preparing to help police with this case. Sheriff Chris Fitzgerald says he wants up to 2,000 people to participate tomorrow in a targeted search.
To walk specific areas in or around the crime scene to help with our investigation. We are looking for anything that may be of evidentiary value, may be related to the incident.
The sheriff also asked the public to look for vehicles observed near the crime scene. As this search continues, a vigil is planned tonight for the missing girl at the local football stadium, Lisa.
Gernal, Hurricane Willa weakening slightly off Mexico's Pacific coast and is now a Category 4 storm, but forecasters say it remains extremely dangerous ahead of expected landfall tomorrow. The National Hurricane Center says Willa's maximum sustained winds are now at 155 miles per hour, just below a Category 5. The storm expected to bring life-threatening storm surge and rains to parts of west central and southwestern Mexico. Wall Street at the close. The Dow lost 126. The Nasdaq added 19. The S&P fell 11. This is Fox News.
What are the benefits of switching to the handset payment option with GTA? For starters, you can customize a plan that matches your budget and lowers your monthly payment. HPO lets you upgrade to the latest phones whenever you want. No more waiting for a contract to end to get that slimmer, faster smartphone. Because with HPO, there are no contracts. HPO lets you design a phone plan that suits you. So join the thousands who have already switched to HPO, the most customizable phone plan on island. Limited time offer. Terms and conditions apply.
Calvo started with a simple handshake. As we celebrate 80 years, we extend a hand to all of you who have taken our hand in trust, to the dreamers and realists, the families, the businesses, the young at heart and the old souls, our manumku and our children. From all of us to all of you, our deepest, happiest, and infinite thanks.
80 years here for you. 80 years thanks to you. Calvo's Insurance, a legacy of trust.
The Trump administration reportedly considering a new definition of gender that would effectively deny federal recognition and civil rights protections for transgender Americans.
This document that the New York Times reports on says that HHS is looking at the definition of sex under Chapter 9 protections and whether or not sex should be defined as how one is born or how one identifies themselves. This was the president.
I'm protecting everybody. You know what I'm doing? I'm protecting everybody. I want to protect our country.
Reaction from the Human Rights Campaign. They call this a destructive precedent that the administration would be engaging in. They say, quote, the Trump-Pence administration intends to erase LGBTQ people from federal civil rights protections and eviscerate enforcement of non-discrimination laws, defining sex in this narrow language tailored to the talking points of anti-equality extremists.
Fox's Blake Berman at the White House. Former President Obama in Nevada accusing Republicans of voter suppression.
Where they have tried to say that students and college students operate under different rules than others and make it harder for them to vote.
The Nevada Senate race expected to be one of the closest. Democrat Jackie Rosen trying to unseat Republican Dean Heller. A college student suing a senator after a cell phone scuffle at a campaign event.
A Georgia Tech student is suing Georgia Republican Senator David Perdue. Video of Perdue and the student was posted online by the university's Young Democratic Socialists, showing Perdue grabbing the cell phone of the student earlier this month. Perdue's staff says the senator believed he was being asked to take a picture and return the phone when he realized he was not being asked for a photo. In Washington, Jared Halpern, Fox News.
The world will have to wait a little longer for a Wonder Woman sequel. Warner Brothers announcing Wonder Woman 1984 will now open June 5th, 2020. It was slated to open in November of next year. I'm Lisa Lacera, and this is Fox News.
My opponents have attacked me lying about who I am or what I would do as your governor. So I thought you should hear from me. These attacks are flat-out lies and meant to distract you from the fact that they have failed you all these years. I am the only person running for governor who is a mother, grandmother, and a nurse. The truth is, I believe that when making decisions about her reproductive health, a woman should be guided by her family, priest, or doctor, not the government. They also claim I have a conflict with Bank of Guam. The truth is, banking is a highly regulated industry, and I will follow the law as I always have. Josh and I have plans to stabilize our economy and promote real growth to make healthcare more affordable, to provide resources to our police and fire departments, and to truly make education a priority. I am Lulian Guerrero, and I approve this message because you deserve to hear the truth.
Paid for by the committee to elect Leon Guerrero Tenorio. Tony Sanford, Treasurer.
Are high power bills sending your budget into chaos? Take control with the help of Micronesia Renewable Energy. Using the highest quality panels, a solar energy system from MRE will guarantee to save you money on power. With MRE, Christmas comes early. With every solar energy system, homeowners not only get $400 for signing up, but also an entry for a chance to win $1,000 in cold, hard cash, just in time for Christmas. It pays to be an MRE customer. Conditions apply. Call 632-2613 for details. MRE, the smarter choice.
Meet all the candidates up close and personal and find out why they deserve your vote. On Saturday, October 27th, you can meet them face-to-face during Micronesia Mall's one-on-one with the candidates. From 1 to 4 p.m., you can ask the tough questions, exchange views, express your concerns, or just get to know your candidates better. Hosted by Ray Gibson and broadcast on 93.3 The Point with the Facebook Live feed courtesy of Shooting Star Productions. Go one-on-one with the candidates. Saturday, October 27th, only at Micronesia Mall.
One of the longest-running primary care clinics on Guam, the FHP Health Center, has been your convenient one-stop healthcare clinic for you and your family for many generations. FHP's highly trained and well-known medical, dental, and vision providers and their friendly clinical support team are here, ready to take care of you. In addition to the excellent care, FHP offers a full-service pharmacy, laboratory, radiology, and specialty care center in one location. FHP Health Center, our island, your clinic. Most insurance accepted, including Netcare, Aetna, and TRICARE.
Half a day and good morning, Guam. News time here at The Point is 8 minutes past 8 a.m. this Tuesday morning. I'm Kevin Kerrigan. Here's a look now at some of the top stories from the Guam Daily Post. Lieutenant Governor and Republican candidate for Governor Ray Tenorio has released his tax return for last year. Tenorio filed an individual 1040 return for 2017, which shows a total gross income of $62,538. He had itemized deductions of $16,766 and a taxable income of $41,722. He paid $2,160 in taxes, according to the return he released this morning. In the release accompanying the tax return, Tenorio says election season is a time for candidates to open themselves up transparently and demonstrate that they are free of conflicts of interest. Tenorio calls on all the other two gubernatorial candidates to do the same. The release states that the public deserves to fully vet each candidate running for governor, and we believe the other two candidates will follow our lead unless they have something to hide, states the release. The Guam Federation of Teachers is throwing its support behind the Democratic gubernatorial team of Lou Leon Guerrero and Josh Tenorio, the union making the announcement yesterday afternoon following a survey which found that 90% of GFT worksite stewards wanted to endorse Leon Guerrero and Tenorio. According to a release from the GFT, 68% of the stewards felt that Republican nominees Lieutenant Governor Ray Tenorio and his running mate Tony Atta would cause the most harm to their paychecks. The survey did not ask about the write-in team of Senator Frank Huggin Jr. and Alicia Limtiaco. Also yesterday, Delegate Madeline Bordallo publicly declaring her support for the Leon Guerrero Tenorio team in a video posted on the Lou and Josh Facebook page. Referring to the Huggin Limtiaco write-in campaign, Delegate Bordallo said she knows firsthand there is immense difficulty in defeat, but it doesn't serve the good of the island, she said, when we don't embrace the will of the people. We'll have more news after this.
Security Title is honored to join in sponsoring Ray Gibson on The Point. Half a day. I'm Mark Benventi of Santa Rita, and this is where I start my day, listening to the voice of our community and sharing thoughts and issues that affect us all. It all boils down to our people, our land. Protei Igumamo. Protect your home. When purchasing or refinancing your home, remember to call the professionals at Security Title, just like you call Ray Gibson in the morning.
There's a reason every day a Guam homeowner is getting a solar system installed by Micronesia Renewable Energy. It's because MRE is the most trusted name in solar. With more solar energy solutions than any other solar company on island, homeowners have a choice to go solar for zero money down or take the path to ownership. Whichever way, it keeps our skies blue and your pockets green. And with the most experienced solar technicians and an energy production guarantee, there are no worries. Call 632-2613 for a free consultation. MRE, the smarter choice.
News time here at The Point is 11 minutes past 8 a.m. Guam welcomed 1,520,000 tourists in fiscal year 2018, making it the second best fiscal year in local tourism history. Fiscal 2017 remains Guam's best year for tourism when 1,550,000 visited the island. However, Japanese arrival numbers continue to slide. The once dominant Japan market, which used to account for more than 80% of Guam's tourists, now provides just 35%. South Korea, formerly in second place, has become Guam's main source of tourists with 49% of the market. The U.S. Marine Corps' main base on Guam will be named in honor of the late Brigadier General Vicente Ben Blas. The base is currently under construction in Finnegatten. Delegate Madeline Bordallo petitioned the Navy to honor Blas by naming the Marine Corps base after him. The Navy was notified, Bordallo, that Marine Corps Commandant General Robert Neeler has agreed, saying the commemoration to name the base after Blas reflects the strong and unique relationship of the Marine Corps and the people of Guam. Blas was born on Guam and is the highest-ranked Chamorro to have served in the U.S. Marine Corps. He was a survivor of the Japanese occupation of the island during World War II. He served in the Marines for 29 years and went on to represent Guam in the U.S. House of Representatives, where he served for 4 terms as Guam's delegate to Congress. Blas died in January 2014. He was laid to rest at Arlington National Cemetery in Virginia. For these stories and more, log on to postguam.com or pick up a copy of today's Guam Daily Post. Ray and Mike now with some weather.
I'm in love with that story about the cantonment area being named after General Ben Blas. I think that's the smartest thing that they have done in this entire military buildup that we've talked about for 10 years. 8:12 in the morning. Let's take a look at what's happening in the weather. Partly sunny today with isolated showers and thunderstorms. Northeast winds 10 to 15 miles an hour. Highs 89 degrees and overnight lows of about 78 degrees. And my prediction should be fairly easy, is it's going to continue to get snottier here over the next couple of days as a result of tropical storm U2 being out there. Surprised we're not calling it typhoon yet.
Yeah, I'm sure it will be on the next updates. And as we can see on the satellite here, it's starting to turn into a pretty formidable system. That big blobage there, they call that the CDO, the Central Dense Overcast, as it starts to kind of conglomerate over the center of circulation. And once that happens, the center will start to clear out, and then you'll get the eye. So right now, still in the severe tropical storm stage, maybe an infant typhoon, and the track from JTWC has not changed that much, in spite of the fact that the system has tracked a little bit more south of what they had forecast.
It looks like it's going in that direction, but that may be just something that we're seeing on the satellite. They've got access to all kinds of more sophisticated technology out there that gives them an opportunity to review their numbers and their predictions in ways that I cannot even begin to fathom.
Yeah, for me, as I watch these things year in and year out, this one in particular is quite impressive, and we're going to see some pretty rapid intensification over the next 24 hours or so, and it's going to look pretty scary by this time tomorrow.
But it's also moving fast. Is the thing. So what I'm in my head, it's Hunt for Red October. The guy fires the torpedoes, and Sean Connery turns towards the torpedoes, eliminating the time for them to arm. So I'm thinking along the same lines. As it's developing, as it's moving fast, it means by the time it gets to the Marianas, it will be a weaker. It won't have reached its full potential had it been moving slower.
Yeah, if it were tracking in at Manghut speeds, that would be true. Yeah. This is actually pretty nominal track
16
speed,
miles an hour,
16, yeah, it's about right, and really is a perfect speed for it to continue to intensify. And again, the forecasts are for rapid and even explosive intensification. This is from my buddy over at JTWC, Mr. Patrick Laurel. And, so we are about to see a monster develop out there, and hopefully it will miss us. We do have listeners in Saipan, though, and they are going to get the full brunt of this thing one way or the other.
Gotcha. It's just the way the Marianas are this time of year. That's what's happening in weather. Let me put the cameras back on where we're supposed to be and let you know that that's news and weather together here on The Point.
Morrico Equipment is the exclusive Freightliner truck dealer in Guam and Micronesia. That exclusive part is important because Morrico Equipment can sell new Freightliner trucks with the 2004 Mercedes diesel engine. If you operate trucks on Guam, then you know how important and reliable the old diesel engines are. The Mercedes diesel engine only in Freightliner trucks operates on both old and new diesel fuel. They do not require DEF fluid or engine regeneration. Freightliner trucks, only at Morrico Equipment.
That tastes so good. So does Cold Stone Creamery, inviting you to try the banana bread battered ice cream and the sea salt caramel ice cream made with premium Ghirardelli sea salt caramel sauce and a new creation. Cold Stone Creamery celebrating 30 years of the ultimate ice cream experience.
What would you do with unlimited internet? With Docomo Pacific, the possibilities are endless. Docomo Pacific is throwing off the data caps so you can enjoy more of the things you love. Watch, stream, download, and play with no end in sight. Stop by any of our stores or check out DocomoPacific.com to learn more.
More political.
Life becomes limitless with Docomo Pacific. Better together.
More political gossip coming up and maybe some sports gossip in the next couple of minutes. But first portions of the program brought to you by American President Lines, where they're shipping the future's security title. When you absolutely need confidentiality in your real estate transactions, Micronesia Renewable Energy, where there's never been a better time to go solar. American Water Tech, smarter water, better water. Guam Regional Medical City. And I've got a note from them earlier today. Maybe Kevin knows a thing or two about what's going on, but they have apparently going to be having some kind of a press conference this morning with the folks from Guam Memorial Hospital.
Yes, they're talking about the transition of maternity services.
The baby stuff.
Yes.
Okay, all right. So step number 2 on
It'll
all
take
of
place
that.
at GMH.
Very good. And finally, AK Lexus. Swing by AK Lexus and test drive. Got to be careful, though. I love this car. I took a look at it, looked at the inside of it, and the guy says, "Do you want to sit down?" I said, "I don't have room in my driveway for 2 cars." Wait till I sell one. Maybe it's going to be like that. It's a sexy ride. The ES 350, brand new for 2019. All of the appointments and then some. Take a test drive and enjoy it today at AK Lexus.
The Ray Gibson Show. News to fill your mind. Talk to get it out. Turn it up. Now tell a friend.
You want the easy way to tell a friend? If you're watching on Facebook Live, there's a share button somewhere, and I'd like you to share, as in S-H-A-R-E, your excitement for the feed that we do on Facebook Live every single day. It's wonderful. If you're watching on YouTube Live, I believe that there is a share button that you can put in there and just share to whatever your favorite social medias are and things like that. The more people, I'm serious now, and you're not feeding my ego. You totally are, but you're not. I've got to say that you're not feeding my ego when I see that you're sharing and some of the people that are responding to the shares. I honestly believe that this is the way we're going to be doing what we used to call radio back in the olden days. It's audio, we've got video, we've got instantaneous interaction. And you've got to admit, for those of you that are hooked on this, that the instantaneous reaction of people on Facebook Live to the junk that comes out in my mouth, the stuff that comes out of the caller's mouth or the guest's mouth, you've got to admit, that's great. It used to be somebody says something on the radio, you got to wait till somebody calls in. But with Facebook Live, it's right there. The commentary, one way or the other, agree, disagree, is right there, right now.
Mm-hmm. And you don't have to wait for busy signals like I did as a kid, trying to call and request my favorite songs.
Yeah. This is the whole thing. Eddie Cruz, as an example, Eddie Cruz this morning. I laugh about the political scare tactics going on. There are so many scammers posturing to get a cut of Gov Guam pie so they can grab taxpayer money. See, doesn't it look like that? Is it just me? No, it's not just me. I mean, that's the gist of a whole lot of what the commentary that I'm hearing is. You start talking about any camp. And you start talking about, hey, so-and-so's in that camp. Boy, you get ready for the eye roll. Oh, my God, what's he doing there? You know, so-and-so is associated with that camp, and they're going, oh, her? Corrupt, right? And it feels like everybody has got some kind of deal going with this, maybe more so now. Or maybe I'm just more sensitive to it now. I think the only people that you can trust not to have a scam going are right here on the radio. Because frankly, I'm only speaking for myself, I'm too lazy. And somebody says, hey, come on, you want to hang out here? We'll give you a job in a new administration. No, I'm too lazy. I like this. Wake up in the morning.
It's too much stress having to worry about if you're going to get reelected, if you're going to have a job because you're going to get reelected or not.
Pleasing everybody.
Yeah,
that's
what would get me. That's what would get me. Is I mean, and it's not, but the seasonal help aspect of it. It's like, you're only here maybe until 2 more years, maybe not.
Yeah. I could never make it because anyone that knows me knows I don't care what anyone thinks.
It just doesn't matter. Yeah, vote for me. And I've always joked about this would be my platform. If I was to get elected, I would be the guy at the legislature that votes no on everything.
Everything?
Everything. And just you need to start with no. And we'll negotiate to maybe.
The get off my lawn platform.
Exactly.
Just start the discussion.
Yeah, no, I've got this great idea. It's going to help out one of the downtrodden members of our community. Shut up.
Humbug.
No, I don't care. I don't want to hear about. There's nobody downtrodden here. They're downtrodden because they choose to be downtrodden. There's no. Next, what do you want to do? We got to help out this agency and this commission here. No. Let's make it like this ethics commission. You hear about this? It is so funny because it's the subject of an editorial in the Guam Daily Post today where they're talking about this ethics commission, right? Tom Fisher wants to have
what ethics commission?
Exactly. What is it? And how long have they been screwing around with this since the 24th Guam legislature? Had I been in the 24th Guam legislature, I would have hit them with the hammer of reality and said no, because we'll never be able to stand up this commission. And in all of the years since then, they haven't. They've never appointed anybody to it. So, it's fairy dust that we try to sprinkle over this. And my favorite, solutions out looking for problems. And as it turns out, I'm wondering if this medicinal marijuana thing is going to start looking like a solution out looking for a problem. Kevin,
I ain't how, I'll tell you that, man.
How many people have applied now?
I don't know.
I believe the number was 1.
Well, that was a couple of days ago.
Yeah.
Really? Last week, I think.
Yeah. What's the holdup? You think it'd be like 1,000?
As I said, a solution out looking for a problem.
They're going to hold a special celebration when the 420th signs up.
if they ever get that far. How old will we be? Hey, you know what? I forgot. You know what we're supposed to be doing now? Sports with Blake.
I got some cooler beds, too, when we talk about NFL. So,
all right.
Yay!
There's a game today.
There is.
Think.
Yep.
No, you know what? I was thinking about what we need. We need to, in addition to having a cool music bed for when we're talking about the NFL and going through that litany of teams and who's going to win and what the scores were, we ought to have some other kind of cool sound effect, right?
Yeah.
Where's the Eric the War Eagle? Do we have that?
I got it.
So it'd be like, it's so-and-so beat the so-and-so, and then we just drop some kind of cool sound effect in there.
Kind of like Sports Center does. Dun-dun-dun, dun-dun-dun.
Yeah.
But that's theirs. Can't.
But you've already said
no, we just steal. Nobody watches television anymore. Actually, that's not true. That's not true.
Surely nobody watches ESPN.
Yeah, but you know where? In bars.
Yeah.
That's the only time.
That's the only thing keeping ESPN's ratings up is the fact that it's just background in every bar.
You go to
because you don't need sound. It's actually kind of perfect.
It's even better without sound.
Yeah.
Because watching the thing and because the commentary that viewers provide. I went to Applebee's the other night, right? Because my daughter had the craving for quesadillas, so we went to Applebee's, and there's a bunch of guys on the other side watching what was on ESPN, and their commentary on what was happening on Sports Center was probably better than what was happening on Sports Center.
Oh, I've gotten in many sports arguments at a bar based on people's zone defense and who they should have drafted.
The volume down. I mean, the guy's not talking, he's not saying anything. It's just, hey, look, they're talking about something, and there's reactions. It's great. Call the police. There's a madman around. 8:24 in the morning. Is there sports today?
There is some sports to report on today. We do have a couple of off-island things going on. Guam women's... That's so hard for me to say. Guam women...
Eddie Cruz says
women's rugby sevens team is in Brunei as they're competing. I don't have any. I saw on their Instagram page that they were competing against the Philippines. Nice little video there, but that's on Guam Rugby Union's IG page. I don't actually have any results. So go, ladies, if you're continuing your march towards a medal. I do know that they are playing. Let's see here. During the 3-round tournament. They are playing to earn a berth in a bigger tournament. So
Chris Watson says, "Go Pats." Eddie Cruz says, "I lost more money on my Cowboys."
Yeah, don't stop betting on them. I'm telling you, man, I haven't bet on them all year except for the one game where they played Houston, and I did that just for fun for my Texas brother in there because I knew he was going to take his hometown team. But telling you, Eddie, quit betting on them. They're not to be trusted.
Manami Iijima might be watching on Facebook Live this morning. She was on earlier having breakfast or something like that. And
it was her birthday
why aren't you training?
It was her birthday this weekend.
Really?
Yeah, she had a birthday this weekend, and she posted a funny picture of her as a baby. And then, I don't know if you remember the Monchichi, the toy that they were like little monkeys. They were like little monkeys, baby monkeys in a diaper and like a little top knot.
Okay.
She posted a side-by-side picture of herself as a baby and one of those and said that she was, that's where her parents got her styling tips from.
I think she's fantastic. What a great inspiration. A very inspirational story about what took place with my buddy Cruz at the bodybuilding competition where the guy that won the champion took his medal off and hung it over.
I saw that. I saw those
nice.
pictures. Yeah. Always good feel-good stories in sports.
Guam Basketball Federation got a press release here. The Guam National Basketball Confederation elects new president and the secretary general. And what have we got here? On Saturday, October the 13th, the board of directors for GBC elected former player turned coach E.J. Calvo as president of the board and named experienced referee Frank Cruz as secretary general as well as vice president. The positions were left vacant with the passing of Tony Thompson earlier this year. And it goes on to talk a little bit about Tony's legacy and what their plans are to move forward. Susan Lapola remains board secretary. Marie Pelkey continues as treasurer. If you want more information, call the new president, E.J. Calvo, or hit him up at ejcalvo@tpiguam.com.
Are you familiar with the name Ray Caruth?
I'm going to say no, and somebody's going to say you're an idiot. Why don't you know that guy?
Well, but does it seem
every day?
No. He's you wouldn't see him every day. And you may start now because he is out of jail.
You know, people are going to say you're an idiot anyway.
He's out of jail. Former Carolina Panthers wide receiver Ray Caruth, who was in 2001 convicted of conspiracy to commit murder in the shooting death of his pregnant girlfriend. Did you see this today, Mike Knight?
I didn't see that, but I remember this.
I couldn't believe this. This is one of the first headlines I read this morning. He was convicted of conspiracy to commit murder in the shooting death of his pregnant girlfriend. He was released just after 8 a.m. Eastern today from the Sampson Correctional Institution in Clinton, North Carolina. He devised a plot to kill Cherika Adams during a November 1999 shooting. The woman died about a month later, and the baby that she was pregnant with was also struck. He was born with many afflictions. He's still alive, and he also suffers from cerebral palsy. He's been taken care of by his grandmother. It all happened when a hitman was hired by Ray Caruth.
What drama.
A hitman was hired by Ray Caruth and testified against him, and he was sentenced to a minimum the hitman was sentenced to a minimum of 40 years. He was the first pick in the 1997 draft. This went down in November 99, so he was not an NFL player for very long, but out of jail.
Yeah.
Out of jail, and only on conditions until for the first 9 months, then he's free to go wherever. But Ray Caruth out of jail.
Yeah.
Crazy. I just couldn't believe it. It's a big deal in the sports world. It's like when OJ got out, you know?
I'm looking at the 2018 IIAG middle school girls basketball official standings. Somebody sent it to me, and I couldn't tell you. This is middle school girls basketball. Okay, so these are the old numbers, right? This is where they will start the season. St. Paul with 8 wins, 1 loss. Bishop with 7 wins, 2 losses. Harvest and Mount Carmel and St. John's tied with 6 wins, 3 losses apiece. Then there's Anderson, St. Anthony, McCool, Santa Barbara, and San Vicente who did not win any of the games that they went out for. So everybody's got something to prove as the new IIAG middle school girls basketball season gets underway before too much longer. And I will express my bias now. My daughter is playing for the Harvest A team, and I anticipate that they will beat Bishop and St. Paul and come in first.
You think so? Do you have a shave your head
Well,
or I'll cut a mohawk wager on it with anybody?
I just said that my daughter's on the team, so now I gotta back it up with something, right?
But you got to go find a parent for one of the other teams.
I'll eat a bug.
Okay.
I'll eat a bug.
All right.
I won't chew it though. It'll be like one of those little grubs, a little baby rhinoceros beetle. I just take the grub and I'll stick it in my mouth and I'll just Tabasco and soy sauce.
The grubs are easier to eat than things like grasshoppers and crickets. I know that seems weird.
I don't want to eat something that can bite me on the way down.
No, they're dead. They're dead and sautéed. I had a whole bag of them on Khao San Road in Bangkok. A bag of bugs. Yeah, they're all different. They're all different variations.
Everybody knows they're better when they're live. Come on, guys.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. I'll eat it live.
But
I'm not going to chew
when you feel it
put
trying
the
to
barbecue
crawl
sauce
back
on
out,
them. Yeah.
I get some of that Sawsum stuff. You know what? My daughter was just doing some traveling and she went someplace where they had Texas Pete hot sauce, which I like.
It's good.
It's not actually made in Texas.
No,
but it's actually
very few things are.
Yeah, but it's actually pretty tasty. So she got me a whole bunch of packets of that, and so I'll save a packet of Texas Pete for the bug when I eat it. But I'm not going to have to eat it because Harvest's going to win.
Okay, well, see, there you go. That's how confident he is, Bishop, and who else? St. Paul parents. There you go.
All right, Eddie asking the question, how about the Guam Youth National FFA and the Double F and the championship game coming up between the Angels and the Steelers?
Oh, GNYFF.
Yes.
Yeah, GNYFF. He's exactly right. Angel. they had the championship game the Matua division win as the Angels beat the Broncos to get into the championship games. The Manyaha Angels beat the Outlaws 33-12 to advance. The Angels swept into the championship rounds with a 48-0 Metgut division win over the Outlaws. So all three teams, the Matua, the Manyaha, and the Metgut, all three Angels teams going to the championship in GNYFF wrapping up this weekend.
Okay, and we have Monday night tonight.
Monday night.
No, you play the cool music bed tonight because we're talking football.
By the way, I know we'll have time.
Yeah, yes, that's what I'm talking about. That's sexying it up. Now just leave a little Eric the War Eagle. Come on now, mix them both. Yeah, again. See. And now it's just noisy. Now you're using too many sound effects.
Jesus Day.
I was about to say, well, where is she? I was waiting for her. I was waiting for Jesus Day.
So we got football. Where's Renee? I gotta call my friend Renee because I think she actually the story I heard is I think she worked yesterday so that she could take today off to watch the football game.
Who does she like?
Who's playing?
It's a terrible game. Atlanta, the Giants. The Giants are 1-5, and Atlanta's
But she's from around there.
Okay, well then maybe.
I tell you what, Kansas City's for real.
Yeah.
Man, they shellacked Cincinnati, which is not a shoddy team. I mean, Cincinnati's not great.
Music.
Yeah.
Yeah, so yesterday's game, the Kansas City Chiefs won. They beat Cincinnati. Like I said, I'm riding the Mahomes train all the way to Atlanta. That's where the Super Bowl is this year. And, today, Giants 1-5. I mean, good luck, New York. As long as they have Eli, I don't think they're going to do much this year. But they're 1-5, and Atlanta's 2-4. So this is a non all too exciting game. But listen for Jason Witten and all of his Jason Wittenisms to mess up as he's commentating. That's always good.
Joe Cruz asking, what in the Rain Nation is going on in there? And Eddie Cruz said, no, the championship in 2 weeks is what he's asking about with the GYNFF.
Okay. No, I mean, they're all making... I got my weekends wrong. I guess it's next weekend, not this weekend.
Okay.
This weekend, yeah.
Hey, Eddie, if you want to do this sports report, 888-8255. 888.
We'll give you a cool music.
We'll give you a cool music. We'll do the Eric the Eagle, the War Eagle thing, whenever you want. We need a War Eagle.
Mm-hmm.
Perfect. I'm telling you, 8:34. This is my dream radio gig. All right, and just because I like to keep Kevin around a little bit longer before we get to headlines, a note, there is I don't want to say it's a new hot dog place. I discovered a hot dog place in Agania yesterday. I had an appointment, and I got a call from the lady I had the appointment with, and she said, I'm running late. And I said, okay. which was fine because I was hungry, and but I was near the post office, near the museum, and I'm going, where the heck? There had always, when I was growing up, there always had hot dog stands in the area, and I couldn't find one until I looked under the tree across from the post office, you know, in that the old one-way street that went to the old administration building that Eddie Calvo and Roy Respicio eliminated.
Oh, eliminated. Yeah.
I was so mad about that. Yeah. But anyway, there's a nice, and she's got hot dogs and chili dogs and sodas for under $5.
Under $5?
Under $5.
There you go.
Got a hot dog, chili dog, and a soda under $5.
That's good.
Yep.
I love a good hot dog, too. Hot dogs are good. Underrated, I think.
And crispy jalapenos. Not the ones that've been soaking in a jar for 2 or 3 days. Crispy jalapenos.
Bite into it, nice little crunch to it.
Yep, nice. Anyway, 8:35. Just thought I'd share that with everybody. It's
Brad's going to be at the Kansas City game against Denver next week. He said.
He says.
Enjoy. Eat some ribs for me, Brad.
Take Frank Huggan with you. I have a lot to talk about. Okay, so that's all the time we've got for sports this morning. Thanks so much for tuning in. Blake's going to go next door and finish the morning show on Star 101, and we're going to listen to headlines and maybe do a little bit of traffic on the other side of these.
Family Finance, serving the people of Guam since 1959. Now you can start planning for the holidays by getting a personal Christmas loan from $1,000 up to $3,500. Family Finance has 3 convenient locations to serve you. Give them a call in Dededo, 633-4473, Hagåtña, 475-4545, and the Upper Tumon location on the 2nd floor of the Pacific Building at 647-5626. Get your Christmas loans today from Family Finance.
Wow. Mark says that's Reina's hot dog stand. Mark's niece. Okay, I'll continue to support that. I was thinking about going over to Evelyn's, but that was a little bit further out of my way. My meeting was around the post office area, and so that's why I was looking around for something like that. I really enjoyed it, and it's just there's something cool I think about being able to just sit in the car under the shade of a tree, got the radio playing, and eating a hot dog and then scarfing a chili dog and washing it down with an ice cold Coca-Cola, right? Ice cold. The only thing that it would be better is if it was a Coca-Cola that was made with cane sugar, not high fructose corn syrup, you know, Franken sugar, right? I'm just saying my body doesn't metabolize that well, but anyway, so good, and I think good for you.
Are you sure that was a Coca-Cola, Ray?
It said Budweiser on it, of course. It's 8:37, and time for headlines from the Guam Daily Post. Here's Kevin Kerrigan.
Half a day and good morning, Guam. And the headlines from the Guam Daily Post this morning, a 35-year-old man is behind bars after being accused of sexually abusing and impregnating a teenage girl. According to the magistrate complaint, the victim telling police that her mother's boyfriend has been sexually assaulting her for the past 3 years, ever since she arrived on Guam from Chuuk at the age of 15. Wesson charged on Saturday with 3 counts of first-degree criminal sexual conduct, 5 counts of third-degree criminal sexual conduct. He is being held on $15,000 cash bail. Wesson arrested last Friday after a store employee observed a disturbance between the girl and Wesson. The Guam Election Commission's $1,000 fine against a political action committee stands, despite the threat of a lawsuit. The Guam Election Commission issuing the fine after People for Progress failed to file campaign finance disclosures. The information was also submitted to the Office of the Attorney General. People for Progress contends it was not under the purview of election disclosure law, and therefore they did not need to file finance reports with the GEC. In response to the threat of a fine, the PAC's attorney, Jacqueline Terlahi, asked the commission to lift the fine. She said the PAC is considering a lawsuit if the fine remains in place. A driver who was pulled over for disobeying a posted stop sign over the weekend was arrested after a search of his vehicle led to the discovery of a modified shotgun, ammunition, and drugs. 35-year-old Derek John Punsalan was found in possession of crystal meth, marijuana, a modified shotgun, 6 shotgun shells, and drug paraphernalia. In the vehicle were a female passengers and 2 children aged 1 and 2. Punsalan was charged with possession of a Schedule II controlled substance with intent to deliver and possession of a modified firearm without a firearms ID. For these stories and more, log on to postguam.com or pick up a copy of today's Guam Daily Post.
And there is another example of a couple of things. Number one, awesome police work. Saw somebody blowing a stop sign and decided to hit the lights. But it is also another example of just how close we are to that dangerous moment. And perhaps if those kids had not been in the car, that could have turned out differently for the guy. He could have gotten all panicked. He could have gotten all twitchy and freaked out about the policeman looking around in the car, and that could have gone completely south. It's just another reminder, guys, of just how dangerous it is with all of these tweakers running around and these meth drug heads with apparently easy access to firearms. And another reason why, if you haven't yet pondered the idea, I'm not telling that you have to be a Second Amendment freak, but if you haven't pondered the idea of learning a little bit about self-defense that might come at the good end of a gun, I'd give it some thought. 20 away from 9 o'clock in the morning, and that's iConnect time. We'll swing you by iConnect later on, or call them at 888-8888 and talk to them a little bit about being able to put together a great plan for you on things like internet and mobile and push-to-talk.
Hyundai Construction Equipment is sold exclusively on Guam by Morico Equipment, a market leader with proven reliability in large excavators, loaders, and forklifts. Morico Equipment, with 28 years on Guam, offers Hyundai Construction Equipment sales, rental, parts, service, and fully maintained lease finance. Hyundai Equipment is in stock on Guam. Equipment demonstrations are available on request. Contact Morico Equipment on Ipoh Road at 649-1946 or go to moricoequipment.com.
Let's look at traffic unless something big comes up, and the only place I'm seeing where traffic is moving slow is on the way into the University of Guam. If you're on Mangilao on Route 10, headed generally south, you might see a little bit of a slowdown at that intersection where the gas station is. Once you get past that, should be smooth sailing just about everywhere else. And the reason why I'm talking like this is because I think I'm going to sneeze. Okay, it went away. It passed. It passed, thank God. It doesn't happen very often. It's just that we've got expensive microphones around here, and I didn't want to get any on that. It's 8:41. That's right now traffic here on The Point.
If you can dream uncommon design and unprecedented engineering, you define the 2018 Lexus. The boldly designed IS Sports Sedan's aggressive design stimulates the senses.
Advanced paddle shifting puts the exhilarating performance of the IS Sports Sedan at your fingertips. With deep, luxurious seating, the ES350 offers an ultimate level of comfort, while cutting-edge engineering delivers a thrilling drive.
Put yourself in a 2018 Lexus.
Now with special incentives.
At Atkins Kroll.
Pretty Ashley Rodriguez on Facebook this morning posting pictures of different kinds of beer. Pumpkin ale from, who makes this stuff? Douglas Head? What? I can't read it. I'm trying to zoom in on the picture. You know what this is about? Pumpkin ale? It's that time of year where they're putting pumpkin spice in just about everything. Dogfish Head is the name of the brewery, and the brand is Pumpkin Ale. And there should be a rule: no posting of pictures of beer and fancy kind of crafty kind of beers on Facebook unless I can go to the store and buy it. Unless they have that at the beer section at Payless or the beer caves at the Shell gas stations, there should be a law. Or some kind of disclaimer. Some kind of actual disclaimer. It's 8:43 in the morning. 888-8255. That's 888-TALK is the telephone number. You can send me memes and funny stuff at 988-5874. Although today, among the things that we're looking at on the WhatsApp line are not necessarily things that are of a humorous bend. Frankly, there's a few more very serious things that are out there, up to and including a storm that the National Weather Service has got its eye on. We have got our eye on it, and I've told you 100 times, so you know exactly how I feel. Anything that is to the right and south of Guam is, in my mind, a menace and needs to be looked at the same way as some of the menacing people walking around your neighborhood all the time. You kind of watch it until it's past your house. And that's the way I feel about this storm, this U2 that is lingering out there, about 600 miles to the east-southeast of Guam. It is moving about 16 miles an hour and intensifying, Mike says, rapidly. And there are predictions now, forecast that put the storm north of Saipan. But it sure looks like it's wobbling around. So I would say that's the prediction for right now. Check again later today. Check again tonight before you go to sleep. And check again first thing tomorrow. Because that's what we will do. Every time we know that we've got a new fix on this thing, every time we know that there's the satellites passed over it again, we'll review the pictures and see what this is. And what it could be. Oh, by the way, the name of the girl that runs the hot dog stand in Ganya is not Rena, it's Rihanna. Sorry about that, Uncle Mark. I took care of it. What else? What else is playing on my phone? What else is going on the WhatsApp? 888-8255. There's another thing that I was looking at. Ken LG came in last hour and wanted to spend some time talking about polls and polling. I will tell you, as somebody that has been around management and promotions of radio stations and media for all of my adult life, that there's no survey that I trust. There's no, frankly, I think sometimes when people issue surveys, I think sometimes it's a combination of being able to do some of it right, nailing the basics, and then the other part is just dumb blind luck, just dumb blind. Hey, how about that? What an amazing stroke of luck! I managed to call it right a couple of times in a row, and you only need to do it a few times in a row. You'd get a decent reputation around here for being able to call the ball, and but in terms of methodology. In terms of size of the sample, in terms of the way the questions are asked, in terms of the people that you're actually surveying. There's always going to be plenty of room to disagree. So Ken comes in and he's disagreeing with, I guess, the KUAM poll, and there's no surprise there. Even McNinch have been disagreeing for a long time about a variety of things, especially this election where there seems to be so much at stake for Ken and Andre on a write-in. And so far, the write-in is at 10%, doing better than it was the first time. But Lou has got to lose a whole lot more numbers, and Ray has got to lose a whole lot more numbers before even 10% starts looking like it's going to be a big deal. We're shooting for 50% plus one, and right now Lou and Josh, according to the KUAM survey, have got 58%. They have also got Madeline Berdalio and her endorsement. Played that for you yesterday. So how is that going to change the complexion of all of this? And now that Madeline has endorsed Lou and Josh, naturally there are she's going to have some spears in her back, arrows in her back, because now everybody is waiting for her to endorse Mike St. Nicholas. And it's an interesting thing. She should, right? But she didn't yet that I know of. He's a Democrat running for Congress. She's a Democrat in Congress. The quote people have spoken. So I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen there. But the lack of the endorsement for Mike has got some of the political pundits and the opinion guys talking about it on the air. Got a note from my buddy Richard. Says we got a little bit of a smash up in Tumon. Looks like that area right in front of the Guam Hilton intersection. You got the clinic on one side. You got the and apparently you've got a record that's going to be if it hasn't moved them yet, it will. This picture is old by about 10 or 15 minutes. So hopefully it's clear by then. Okay. All right. So we've got that that is playing on the stream. We'll see if we can scare up some folks from National Weather Service, and not National Weather Service, but Homeland Security and Civil Defense. Mike and I are of the opinion, and Mike said it early this morning. There is a possibility that we could go into a different condition of readiness at some point today, if for no other reason just to be prepared. As I've said already, storm on the move. and developing rapidly, and I want to make sure that we have adequate amounts of time to get things done. Frankly, there are things happening around here, and this is a lousy time for a storm. Very inconvenient, and I'm beside myself here because there's so many things that are going on that I want to be able to talk about. Can I make a general complaint about Facebook?
Okay.
Okay. So Facebook has a page called Events.
Yes.
And what I'd like to be able to do is click on an event, and when I say, yes, I'm going or interested, it automatically takes that and sticks it in my calendar. Right? Wouldn't that be convenient? Because, okay, as an example, right? So I'm looking at the events. October 24th, Senator Dennis Rodriguez's annual Halloween masquerade party at Kentos, Guam. Click on it, press interested, and what I want it to do is, see, and it did nothing. It just registered my interest in going.
I see.
I want it to.
But is there not a way you can sync your accounts in with Facebook so that it would do that sort of thing? I think you can. I think you can sync, like Google, into Facebook so that when you do those calendar manipulations, then it automatically does it into your Google thing.
I don't know.
I'm a technological idiot. I can barely run this machine you have for me here.
Yeah. Apparently, well, there's some kind of calendar in here, and I'm not sure how this got in here, but apparently today is Oil Niradikel's birthday. Because it says so on Facebook. Linda Solis, 10 others, including Ronnie Babin. That's my buddy. Chongson Nicholas, Rose Kunick, T.S. Camacho, Teresa Fisher, hey, cuz, Gloria Iglesias, and Jude Juju got birthdays. I'm sorry, it's probably a little bit too early for small talk. Anyway, there are a couple of surveys that cover some information. I was riffing a little bit on the thing is, the bottom line, I don't trust polls. I've never trusted polls. Even polls that say Ray Gibson is #1, most loved, most appreciated, most listened to broadcaster on Guam. I will look at those and go, well, that's interesting, and then move on. Because I don't need that stuff floating around in the gigantic ego that I've got. It just feeds it and makes my butt big. But I don't trust even the surveys that I've conducted in the past. I mean, I knew what the limitations of those surveys are, so I kind of look at them and for information only. Is the deal. And so that's kind of the way I feel about some of the polls that are floating around now, including the ones I was just telling you about. Lou and Josh, 63 were 63%, now they're 58%, but still better than 50% plus one, which means if the election were held tomorrow, among these 238 people, if they were the only ones that came out and voted, then the election would be over, just like that. Scenario number one. One winner emerges on election day. There's a lot of people that are saying that's probably not likely to happen. There's probably going to be some kind of a runoff. So let's say that between Lou and Ray, they both lose more voters to a write-in campaign, which has actually happened, if you believe these numbers. So unless that happens, there probably isn't going to be a write-in campaign. But even if it is, it'll probably be between Lou and Ray. Not necessarily in the other direction. So we'll watch. A little bit more clear in the race for Congress. Mike Sinicolas, solid 55% against Doris Brooks's 45%. Do you think the party do a little bit more to help Doris out? I'm not seeing a whole lot of party participation in some of the races that don't involve the governor. Now, you talk to the Democratic Party, and they're all about Lou and Josh. You talk to the Republican Party, they're all about Ray and Ton. But I'm not hearing a lot about getting out in front and making sure Michael and Doris have the help that they need. That's a hot race there. Levin Camacho and Doug Moreland, nonpartisan race, and Levin looks good at 65%. And then there has been a lot of up and down movement among some of the people over at the legislature, which, again, Republican Party does not favor you. First time I looked at this, it looked like it was going to be a little bit more even where it came to Republicans and Democrats in the legislature, 7 and 8. But now it looks like more 10 Democrats to just 5 Republicans in the race. So, again, as I say, 2 weeks left, right? 14 days out. Not including today, 14 in a wake-up, and then it's going to be Election Day. What?
Joint Information Center release at 8:30 this morning. Guam to move to Core 3 by 9 as the tropical storm continues to strengthen. I could read more and more of this, but basically it looks like we will be going Core 3
In the very least, I think
so.
that's prudent. I think that's prudent. Given the nature of what this storm could be in the next 48 hours, I think it's important that everybody knows that there is something out there. I think there's a lot of people that are going to look at the sky today and go, "Hey, it's not so bad." Looked at the sky yesterday. Hey, it was so bad.
Yeah, and clearly, I'm still getting used to the signals here. I said Core 2 earlier, and I meant Core 3, but. Yeah, not used to that because core is back in the States.
Well,
it's
a number.
Cores,
yeah. Well, it's an anticipation game. We're trying to figure out where things are based on time or where we anticipate something is going to happen
Plus,
by time.
It's a military terminology actually for the base because they do cores over in Okinawa too.
I was raised as a condition person, not a condition of readiness person, and so mentally I'm still kind of fighting that because when I was growing up it was tropical storm condition 3. Or typhoon condition 3, so that you could make a distinction between the strength of what was coming and how much time you had to prepare for it. And then they made it just Core 3, and we're all going, okay, I'll prepare, but what? What do you want me to prepare for, a banana storm, or do you want me to prepare for a remake of Typhoon Pamela?
Yeah.
And so that's the thinking that goes on in the local head. All right. So what? 9 o'clock this morning, Core 3.
That is what they're saying right now, and of course I do expect that we'll be speaking with Jenna. If not before 9 o'clock, then shortly thereafter. I have already talked to her.
All right, it's before 9 o'clock, and I've got some folks from. I've got Ben Servino's going to be in here just after 9 o'clock, so we'll squeeze everybody in. There's one other piece of survey information that came out yesterday. I don't know when it came out. I got it yesterday. Catholic Pro-Life Committee 2018 survey for general election candidates. And it asked this question, focusing on Bill 232-34, the Unborn Child Protection Act of 2018, which would have restricted abortions on unborn babies who have reached the gestational age of 20 weeks and above, and which was introduced in the 34th Guam legislature but not moved forward. The survey asked, would you support a legislative bill that would restrict abortion on Guam by making it illegal to perform abortions on unborn babies once the unborn baby has reached the gestational age of 20 weeks or older? Your responses are yes or no answer. And there's a significant number of politicians that say yes, because they're not dumb, because they know this comes from the Catholic Pro-Life Committee. Yeah. I want your vote, yes. There's a significant number that voted no answer. Ken Joe. I got to do the thing with the rule, or otherwise I'm going to screw this up. So I got Ken Joe, Will Castro, Harold Cruz, Luis Muña, Mary Torres, Zermaine Alerta, Tina Rose Muña Barnes, Levin Camacho, Lacia Casil, Jack Hattig, Regine Lee, Kelly Marsh, Clint Rigel, Mike St. and Therese Terlahi all put down no answer. I don't want to tell you. And then responding no, as you might imagine, Lulian Guerrero, Sabina Perez, Amanda Shelton, and Josh Tenorio. So a little bit of research. And now, will this help the people over at the Catholic Pro-Life Committee in their search for somebody to vote for? Think it will. 20 people voted yes, 4 voted no, and 15 voted no answer. And I don't know. Thought you guys were a little bit more courageous there. Guess not. 888-8255. It's 8:58 in the morning. And a couple of other thoughts that are in my head as we make our way into the 9 o'clock hours. I said I've got an interview at 9. We're also going to find out what we need to know from Department of Homeland Security and Civil Defense. But there are certainly a couple of other things that are on the table of contents that I have not yet had an opportunity to riff on. One of them is good news. 1.52 million tourists came to Guam in the last fiscal year. Bad news, it's not our best year ever. And further evidence that we've got kind of like the way they're putting this, a slide in the number of Japanese tourists. And I'm sure that they spent a lot of time trying to figure out exactly what word to use there. And so, hey, let's use slide. You know, slides are fun. You remember when you were a kid in the playground, you get on the slide? That's fun, isn't it? You can kind of see the trajectory here. It's but I don't know that that's actually right. I mean the numbers are the percentages are way off from tourists coming out of Japan, and I've talked about this before. I believe that we've got a problem with the product. When you've got to throw money at the airlines to support these flights that they've got coming out here, that's very indicative that we've got a problem with the product, and we've got to do a whole lot more by way of cleaning things up, and that means going out, not just cleaning things up in Tumon or east and west of Ganya. You got to go out there to the entire island and clean things up, and that means you guys up in Jigo as well, and the folks up in Jigo are complaining because they believe that people from south of Jigo are taking their trash up there to dump it on the roadways. Is that really what's happening? Interesting questions. Hey, we'll see what we can find out. Another hour of the Ray Gibson Show coming up. More political gossip, current events, and smart alecky comments from me. 888-8255 is the phone number. Fox News Live is coming up next.
The sprint to the midterms. I'm Lisa Lacera, Fox News. President Trump expressing optimism with just over 2 weeks until the midterm elections.
I think the Republicans are going to do very well. I have never seen spirit like we have now, whether it's Kavanaugh, whether it's tax cuts that we gave, whether it's common sense. I've never seen it.
The president with the comments this afternoon before heading to Houston, where he's due to hold a campaign event for Senator Ted Cruz later this hour. A former president also out on the campaign trail in Nevada.
President Obama spent some time defending his administration at the University of Nevada, Las Vegas.
Part of what happened is Republicans took over Congress. They then decided to block everything I tried to do.
But he also told the crowd who to vote for, praising the women involved in 2 competitive House seats, as well as Congresswoman Jackie Rosen, who's running for a Senate seat against the incumbent Republican Dean Heller.
You could be the first state ever to elect a state legislature where the majority are women.
Early voting began in Nevada over the weekend, and Clark County officials said 30,000 people cast a ballot on the first day.
Fox's Jessica Rosenthal. President Trump again today repeating his promise to cut off aid to Central American countries as a caravan of migrants makes its way towards the U.S. border.
A showdown heading towards the U.S. border as the migrant caravan began moving some 25 miles north Monday, helped by Mexicans offering food, water, and transportation.
You know, like these people's doing right now. Look at them. They got good hearts.
Since leaving Honduras last week, organizers say the group doubled in size to more than 7,000. Some applied for asylum here, but most say they want to enter the U.S., legally or not, despite the president's warning.
Fox's William Lajeunesse in southern Mexico. Wall Street at the close. The Dow lost 126. The NASDAQ added 19. This is Fox News.
If you can dream uncommon design and unprecedented engineering, you define the 2018 Lexus. The boldly designed IS Sport Sedan's aggressive design stimulates the senses.
Advanced paddle shifting puts the exhilarating performance of the IS Sport Sedan at your fingertips. With deep, luxurious seating, the ES350 offers an ultimate level of comfort, while cutting-edge engineering delivers a thrilling drive.
Put yourself in a 2018 Lexus.
Now with special incentives.
At Atkins Kroll.
Calvo started with a simple handshake. As we celebrate 80 years, we extend a hand to all of you who have taken our hand in trust, to the dreamers and realists, the families, the businesses, the young at heart, and the old souls, our manumku and our children. From all of us to all of you, our deepest, happiest, and infinite thanks.
80 years here for you. 80 years thanks to you. Calvo's Insurance, a legacy of trust.
President Trump weighing his response after Saudi Arabia admitted their role in the death of journalist Jamal Khashoggi.
The Trump administration is still considering how or if it will respond to Saudi Arabia after the Saudi government admitted Friday night it was behind the death of columnist Jamal Khashoggi. The Saudi government blames rogue actors and says Saudi leadership was unaware of a plot to kill Khashoggi. Several senior Republican senators say the Saudi explanation is just not credible. Many are calling for sanctions or the cancellation of U.S. arms sales to Saudi Arabia. Turkish President Recep Tayyip Erdogan says he will soon divulge details of the Turkish investigation into the Khashoggi disappearance. At the State Department, Rich Edson, Fox News.
After a series of breaches, Facebook looking to upgrade its security.
Facebook reportedly looking to purchase a major cybersecurity firm. Sources tell digital media company The Information the social network has approached several firms about a potential buy. This in the wake of Facebook's latest security breach. Hackers were able to exploit a feature in the platform's code, allowing them to gain access to nearly 30 million users' personal information, including location, birth date, and search history. Facebook fixed the vulnerability and is yet to comment on whether it's looking for security help, but doing so could help the company protect itself against future hack attempts and help to regain user trust in the platform. I'm Kristen Goodwin, Fox News.
Former Major League Baseball star Lenny Dykstra has pled not guilty to drug and terroristic threat charges stemming from an altercation with an Uber driver. A museum in Indiana is set to tell the story of basketball legend Larry Bird and his ties to the state. Indiana Governor Eric Holcomb announcing the museum will be part of a convention center being built in western Indiana. Bird plans to donate personal items and memorabilia from his career with the Boston Celtics, Indiana State University, the Olympic team, and beyond. I'm Lisa Lacera, and this is Fox News.
Off a day, I'm Madeline Berdalio. For over 60 years, I've spent my life serving you. Through the years, we've done so much. And those of us who have run for public office know that we run on our records and that we are judged by what we've done and what we've failed to do. My late husband, Ricky, imparted this teaching moment. In elections, we win some and we lose some. Personally, I know there's immense difficulty in defeat. But it doesn't serve the good of our island or our Democratic Party when we don't embrace the will of our people. So now more than ever, we need leaders who understand the issues and have a plan for the future. On November 6th, I'm voting for Lou and Josh, and I'm asking everyone who wants positive change to vote for them too. I'm in with Lou and Josh, so vote Democrat.
Paid for by the committee to elect Leon Guerrero Tenorio. Tony Sanford, treasurer.
My name is Ray Gibson, and I definitely approve this message. The Subway Chipotle cheese steak. That's cheese steak. Apparently, I've been guilty for the last several days of saying cheesecake.
I told you, it just makes it sound better.
But in this case, it's a cheese steak sandwich. Contains a concept called flavor. The flavor comes from juicy shaved steak and Chipotle Southwest sauce. It's only available for a limited time at Subway restaurants. Subway, make it what you want.
Meet all the candidates up close and personal and find out why they deserve your vote. On Saturday, October 27th, you can meet them face-to-face during Micronesia Mall's one-on-one with the candidates. From 1 to 4 p.m., you can ask the tough questions, exchange views, express your concerns, or just get to know your candidates better. Hosted by Ray Gibson and broadcast on 93.3 The Point with the Facebook live feed courtesy of Shooting Star Productions. Go one-on-one with the candidates Saturday, October 27th, only at Micronesia Mall.
What happened again? I got to talk some more? Fine. Portions of the program brought to you by our friends over at American President Lines, where they're shipping the future Micronesia renewable energy. You know, there's never been a better time to go solar. American WaterTech, smarter water, better water, and Guam Regional Medical City, the first choice for all of your open heart surgery needs.
The Coconut Wireless is back. Watch and listen live on thepoint.gu.
Time, 7 after 9 o'clock in the morning. Ray Gibson here on The Point, 93.3 for at least another hour. And if everything holds true based on press releases, et cetera, that we have received, we now know that we are moving to Core 3. We have moved to Core 3 as of 9 o'clock this morning. Word from Jenna and the folks over at the Department of Homeland Security. And this, all of us, this Governor and Rear Admiral Shoshana Chatfield have placed Guam in the respective military bases of Core 3 as of 9 o'clock this morning, which means damaging winds between 39 and 57 miles an hour can be expected within 48 hours. We don't know what this storm U2 is going to be doing. The folks over at the Joint Typhoon Warning Center, the National Weather Service, and Michael Knight and all of his weather geeks have been watching this for the last couple of days, and it is definitely headed towards the Marianas, and it turns into a shooting match depending on which way the barrel of that weather gun is pointed. Saipan and Rhoda got nicked on the last one, the last go around, and it looks like there's a possibility that they could get nicked on this one as well. But that same possibility means that Guam could get hit in this, depending again on which way the barrel is going to be going. We've got a couple of days to watch this, and we suggest that you take heed and take the advice of the folks over at the National Weather Service, Department of Homeland Security, and Civil Defense, and begin some preparations now. There's the possibility for heavy weather in the next couple of days.
Yeah, structurally speaking, when I'm looking at the storm myself right now, I see that it has a pretty prominent southwest feeder feature, which we had one earlier this year. It moved through with one of those, and we actually picked up quite a bit of rain, although that was a much slower moving system. But if you look out to the lower bottom and left of this satellite picture, you can see this southwest feeder feature, and as the storm progresses, if it holds the track that they forecast, it will slide up north of Saipan, but it'll drag that huge feeder right over us, and so we'll see quite a bit of rain.
We're going to get some weather here, one way or the other, in the next couple of days. Now, the anticipated track, I think the latest forecast track still puts it near Guam and the islands of the north about Wednesday evening.
That's right, yeah, Wednesday evening. And again, our biggest risk on the current forecast track would be the rainfall. There will be some wind, but it's not, at this point, again, with the forecast and the closest approach of about 150 miles, we won't see much wind, but we will see quite a bit of rain as it slides over.
The caveat is all of this can change.
It can change.
In the next report, it can change.
It will.
So as I said, we're watching it now. There'll be another satellite picture in a couple hours, and the guys will pour over that. So check and check and check. This is your new job. This is your new hobby. This is your new vocation, is to check and find out what the storm is going to be doing. 888-8255 is my telephone number. Hold off on the phone calls. It's time for interview time, and one of my favorite interviews of all time is with Ben Servino. Good morning, sir.
Good morning. How's day?
Good to have you. Nice to have you in my new studio.
I love it.
You like it?
Awesome. It's high tech. I'm impressed.
Yeah, I got cameras and I got video monitors and feeds, and there's air conditioning. I don't have that incredible view of Agania and East Agania Bay, but you know, I'm good looking, so you can look at me if you want to get distracted.
It's great view.
I just playing around. Anyway, so no, and one of the reasons why Ben is among my favorite of the interviews is because it's amazing how long you can go on the subject of disabled parking or handicapped parking or
accessible parking.
Accessible parking. There it is. There's the word that I was looking for. Accessible parking that we've got in this town, and it's like being told what a tree that has rhinoceros beetles looks like. You know, they say they got that reverse diamond cut. And now I start looking around for what looks like accessible parking, which in reality is illegal accessible parking because it's not following some pretty structured rules on signage and markings.
That's correct, and even the slope of the parking.
Even the slope of the parking. So now is that something that you're still actively involved in? Just everywhere you go, right?
And when I take my wife to dinner, it's the first thing I look at. And sometimes my wife says, "Please don't say anything. I don't want them
They're gonna
doing anything to my food," you know. But I usually say, "Okay, I'll wait till after dinner." Then I'd go in and give them some technical assistance about how to resolve the problem.
Right.
But you look around the island, even Kmart. If you look at Kmart, their parking sloped. They really need to bring it down a little. You know, they exceed
because people are getting out of the cars and trying to get into wheelchairs
right, and it
or other
starts
devices.
rolling away.
Yeah, so it makes it a little bit difficult for them to do that. One of the other things I've tried to become a little bit more sensitive to, and sometimes it's hard. I wonder why we decided to paint the markings in dark blue, because sometimes you're in a dark parking lot and you can't see some of the other areas. I mean, you've got a space for the vehicle, and then there's a space to the side so that you can assist and unload the patient and the technology, the wheeled device that they're going to be using, and sometimes people will park right over it because they don't see it. It's hard to spot that kind of thing.
That's right, and the current law doesn't provide specs on actual markings. It just says you need to have proper signage that's posted on 7 feet high.
Yep, and it's got to have this lettering in it.
Right, and the notices, the violation and the penalties, but it doesn't really tell you about the way you paint it. It just says the size dimension: 11 feet wide for a van and 5 feet wide for the access out that we're talking about.
So who's doing it right? Where do you go and you go, these guys have nailed it?
You know, you look at Home Depot. The signs are properly marked. Yeah. It's all flat, and you have access aisles. You have the sign van accessible. That's one area that I always compliment. They got it down pat.
For those of you that are running buildings and the guy in charge of that kind of thing, you're going to swing by Home Depot anyway. Take some pictures on your smartphone and see what you got to do to be able to take this back to your place, so that the next time I got Ben Servino on the radio, we can talk about who's doing it right. And I was going to say, there's a little bit of a disclosure that I've got to do here. You are an actual candidate for political office.
That's true.
That's true. What is that? What kind of answer is that? That's true.
You know, I really can't talk too much about it because of my position right now, and I don't want to violate the Mini Hatch Act. But
no, and I don't want you to violate the Mini Hatch Act, but I do have to. I do have to, if I've got somebody in the studio that is running for political office, I do have to identify you as such. But we're not here to talk about the political campaign. We're here to talk about a couple of conferences that are going to be coming up, and these are going to be important conferences. One of the things that I have learned recently is that there have been, as there always are, a number of changes in ADA rules. This is an evolving beast, if you will, and sometimes you think, well, I've got a pretty good handle on it. I remember what the law was a couple of years ago, but they are always adding more to groups, individuals, and maladies that people may have that will be covered under the ADA.
That's correct.
You got to stay on top of that.
And it's so comprehensive.
I don't have time to stay on top. I got 3 radio stations to run. I got a bunch of employees I got to take care of. I don't have time for that. Yeah. But if I needed,
Grace can help you.
That's where Grace comes in.
Yeah, Grace Donaldson is in from PHRS, and I've actually been to a couple of work sessions that they have put together. Not necessarily on this, but on a couple of other things that Grace has been up to. So Grace, the COO and General Manager of PHRS, which stands for
Pacific Human Resource Services.
All right, and an important feature of this is not just being able to tie up employees and employers, but also to help employers stay on the straight and narrow where it comes to staying on top of the rules.
Employment laws, right? Because just keeping track of what is out there, employment law, is just going to help your business succeed. Because,
but I don't want to become an employment law lawyer. They got a whole bunch of those out there, and it's important to know that there are resources. But if you are a human resources professional, if you're close to that position, or if that's something that is going to be of interest to you, especially because you don't know when you can get nicked on something that you didn't know had all of a sudden fallen under the ADA.
Right, that's
so
correct.
It's a little bit of continuing education is important.
Right. You know, we developed this partnership with DVR only because we felt it important that, you know, with an unemployment of 4.4%, that just means that there are less people to draw from. And why not think out of the box and hire people with disabilities? Because these individuals have skills, they have abilities rather than disabilities, and we need to think of it from that perspective rather than, oh, you know, there's safety issues. No, you have to have a safe environment for your workplace, regardless, right?
Yeah.
So let's not make that the biggest consideration. Let's look at the biggest consideration is, are these individuals employable? Are these individuals capable of doing the work?
As best as we possibly could here, when we had the opportunity to design the facilities here at the radio station, that was one of the things that was vital to me, was making sure that my aisleways were wide enough and the doorways were wide enough into each of the studios that we have around here, so that we could provide that kind of accessibility. And they said, well, this is what the law prescribes. I said, make it a little bit wider.
Awesome.
Because
proactive.
A little bit wider. Take a look at the ramp outside and make sure that that's still going in the right direction, and make sure nobody parks in front of it, and all of those kinds of things. It is important where you can to be proactive, and this is what I will refer to as cheap insurance, is participating in things like this. There is the hammer, there is the carrot and the stick. The carrot is you should want to do this for all of your employees and guests in the building, but the other part of this is if you do it wrong, you might be called before the man, and you might have to defend your actions, your activities to somebody in a court, perhaps. They still arbitration, right?
That's right.
Are also options for folks. So there's two conferences that are coming up: the NDEAM Applicant with Disabilities Conference and Resource Fair, and the NDEAM Employer Conference and Community Resource Fair. And when they first handed me the papers, I thought somebody just made duplicates. They look exactly alike here, but we're looking at different audiences and what it is that we're trying to teach them. So let's start with the first one, which is going to be taking place Wednesday, rain or shine. Grace?
Yes, tomorrow, the 24th, from 8:30 to 3:30. The goal is to help employers understand what their rights are as employers, and also understand that, this can actually be very beneficial to the employer. There are programs out there to help them employ people with disabilities. I wanted to point out that accommodations doesn't have to cost very much. It could simply be an accommodation might simply allow them to take time off to see their doctor, and how expensive is that? But the employer goal, the goal of the conference tomorrow is really to help employers understand what their responsibilities are, what the laws require, but it also will advise them on things that are the programs out there under VR that are available to them to help them, the employers, with their payroll, to help them with just a bunch of different things. So that's what we're there for.
Let me stand on that for a second. I'm familiar with programs that GCC has done in the past for different groups, including veterans, where we want to find as many people as possible that want to work, that have skills, that are capable of working, and match them up with employers. Oftentimes on the employer side, the guy's saying, I just don't have the budget for another person. I can't afford another full-time budget, even at minimum wage. Are there programs out there for businesses like that where they might have the opportunity to bring in an individual with a disability and place them and have that salary subsidized or benefits subsidized by somebody else?
I don't want to tell you too much, but the answer to your question is definitely yes.
So the answer to the question, you'll just have to attend the Employer Conference and Community Resource Fair on Wednesday, October 24th at the Hotel Nico Guam. Okay, I got you, but so...
And I can add
a little bit more. Yeah, please.
Yeah. I mean, there are programs, affirmative action programs. We look at employers that are hiring under the federal government. We look at employers that have contracts in the military base. They have a utilization rate of 7%. They have to hire people with disabilities before they can get their contract in the base. We have the GovGuam programs that have an incentive for the 2% law, which requires each and every government agency to hire at least 2% of their workforce composed of people with disabilities that are referred from DVR. And then last but not least, we offer them the option of getting self-employed. That's an option that they could consider. And more than anything, we have OJTs, on-the-job trainings. It's an incentive for employers. We can place one of our program participants at an employer's work site. After 3 months, we'll help provide some subsidies for them on the job and as they're getting trained, but the obligation is to hire them after that 3-month period. So there are incentives for employers to hire people with disabilities.
On the topic of reasonable accommodations, because I think that's someplace where people might get hung up on what it is. If a prospective employee comes by and says, all right, I've got this, and these are the reasonable accommodations. Who is the final arbiter on what is reasonable, what is not reasonable?
Well, when we, from the employer side, when we talk about reasonable, we always look at, well, can we afford this, right? Can we afford it operationally? Can we afford it financially? So if, let's say, a large hotel, international hotel in Guam says, well, I cannot afford an elevator, the question mark is, hey, how much does an elevator cost versus how much does an elevator cost for a mom and pop store, right? I mean, those are things that you need to consider. What is reasonable accommodations? What needs to happen is a conversation between the individual, the employee, and the employer. That has to happen first, and they come to some kind of agreement about what is reasonable. That's the kind of conversation you would have with an employer, regardless, or with an employee, regardless of what's happening in the environment.
So in that case, though, a reasonable accommodation was you work on the first floor.
It might be. It might be. I mean, it's a question. It's a conversation that needs to happen.
That dialogue has to occur. That engagement.
Right.
And the law specifically says the undue hardship. So
Correct.
for every employer, there's a different undue hardship level,
Right.
depending on the resources they have, depending on the impact it may have on their operations. So all these factors come into play. But that, again, is negotiated between the employee and the employer.
Is there a time where a third party might be beneficial to that conversation?
Oh, absolutely. And, Guam Legal Services Corporation usually gets involved, and they advocate for them. We get involved, and we discuss this with them, and we provide resource information. We always tell employers, go into the JANWorks website, it's Job Accommodations Network. It offers all types of reasonable accommodations options for employers to consider, and also individuals with disabilities. A lot of them don't really know what type of accommodations exist. And with the advent of technology, there's all types of technology that could be considered.
Yeah.
You know?
So we don't have the kind of time to explore all of the subject matter that would fall under reasonable accommodations, but trust me, it is an important factor in moving forward with these decisions to start augmenting your workforce, perhaps with individuals with disability. There are things that you have to know, things that you should know, and that's why that session is a full hour on the 24th. That's a big one. So you got the video presentation, and then they'll have the conversation about reasonable accommodations. And just from personal knowledge, just having the conversation isn't a be-all, end-all. There's a continuous conversation, and it has to kind of escalate until some kind of solution has been found that everybody seems to be comfortable with.
One of the things that we do, this is a true public-private partnership with DISA DVR, is what we do, PHRS does, is we help the government agency find employment for their clients, right? And in that relationship, we also have a continuous conversation with the employer to make sure that this individual is the right individual for their work. So we don't just bring people in from DISA DVR referrals and say, hey, you're going to take this person. No, there's an engagement with the employer to say, is this the right person for you? If it's not the right person, we go back to the counselor and say, hey, give me somebody else, right? I mean, that's...
There's no requirement that you have to hire somebody that is referred to you.
Period. I mean, most employers have an at-will policy, and it applies to everyone. It's just if it doesn't work out for the employer, the government is not out there to kill employers, right? They're not there for that.
There's a number of small business leaders that listen to this broadcast. Is there a threshold where there's ADA rules that apply, certain ADA rules that do not apply? I want to say it's like 13, 14 employees.
Oh, 15.
It's 15. Okay, yes. So 15 employees, and so anything under that, then the rules, they don't apply.
It doesn't apply to them.
It does not apply. But as a good manager, as a good leader, as a good business person, it might make good sense to be able to start looking around for reasonable accommodations and having conversations with people. And even if I was going to make this point, even if it's not something that is covered by the ADA today, it might be down the road. And so it's important that you have a good dialogue with all of your employees and find out what the nature of some of their physical issues are and start seeing if there's ways to address them. Trust me, again, cheap insurance.
Right, and it makes good economic sense.
I think so. So that's one seminar, this work session that's going to be taking place. We're going to hear from everybody. Ben's going to be talking. Maria Connolly will be there representing the federal sector and federal contracts. Phil Marlowe of, I don't know this initial, OFCCP?
Office of
Federal Contract Compliance.
That's at the federal level.
Yeah, this is the one. So if you've got a build-up contract or a federal ticket, guess what? This is the guy that you're going to need to hear from. Guam sector represented by Ben Servino, obviously, in the private sector, Grace Donaldson from PHRS. We're going to put basically those people together again on the 27th, again at the Hotel Nico, Guam, and have a conversation there with Hank Parker talking about reasonable accommodations in the workplace. We spent some time talking about that, but again, this is going to be addressing the concerns of the applicants,
the employers,
the employees.
Actually, starting with the employers and tomorrow's.
Yeah.
Oh,
So
tomorrow's
tomorrow's-
the employers, but,
yeah.
but the one on the 27th is going to be
Yes,
the employees.
applicants, yeah.
So the
Yeah.
applicants can say, this is what I should ask for, this is what I can ask for, and give them an understanding of what an undue hardship is or why an accommodation they're asking for can't be met.
Right.
And the process, how to engage the employer.
Exactly.
And just as importantly, I'd like to point out in the afternoon session is actually a job fair for individuals with a disability, for their clients. So
Okay.
this is where they will match, they attempt to match employers and employees.
Attorney Robert Cruz is going to be talking about the protection and advocacy for beneficiaries of Social Security program. This is new to me. This is ringing fresh. What is it?
You know, there are a lot of people with disabilities that are receiving benefits from Social Security, and they don't want to become employed because they don't want to lose that benefit. So Robert's going to talk about their program, protecting and advocating for these individuals and letting them understand you'll be benefiting much more if you got a job. You can get health insurance covered, dental insurance covered. You can contribute back to the economy and pay taxes like everybody else. You'll be included in the workforce. So he's going to talk about the advantages of being employed, not really relying on a lot of the benefits, but he'll also tell them if you really need it and you can't be employed because of the nature of your disability or the severity of the disability, then this is a benefit that you can consider.
Can you ask him to come by the radio station? I think that would make a great half hour on the radio, just talking about that for folks that you know, their sole disability might be just having too many birthdays. Yeah, I'd like to get back into the workforce. There's an entire month of activities, National Disability Employment Awareness Month, that we're in the midst of right now. So we've got the employer conference, the applicant conference. What else is going to be taking place?
We're going to celebrate the whole event next month, November 3rd, down at Epau Beach. We're going to have this celebration for our participants that attended the workshop and conferences and the employers that attended. We're going to give out certificates of appreciation and just have a great old time.
Now, you guys are taking the show on the road, right? Are you going to be spending some time at Rotary clubs and other groups and talk to employers about what it is that you're up to here?
Wherever we can go, we can reach out to employers and let them know. And, you know, we're working with SHRM, the Society for Human Resource Managers. So
there's a couple of other questions, and just out in the cold here, the idea about DISID here. Where are we going to finally put the headquarters? Has that been determined already?
Well, we've got an RFP out right now.
Yeah.
Again, to form a public-private partnership with the entrepreneur that wants to develop the site across from JFK.
I know the place well.
And hopefully we get a proposal in. Gita is taking the lead to be the project manager, and hopefully they can build a structure there and save us a little space for our agency, so we can move out our existing agency office and have our home of our own. You know, so that's where we're at right now.
Well, I was just thinking about, in terms of, and the spot has history. There's people that are as old as I am that just thinking about it, you can smell a workshop, a gasoline. They did the small engine repair at the place, and I remember that's where we used to take our lawnmowers and chainsaws and things like that, because when you took it over, the guys over there, and they'd fix it, and it never broke again.
That's right.
And the history is it would rust before it wouldn't start again, and these guys were absolutely great at what they did. Where are programs like that now?
Right now, we try to integrate it into the community because, with the advent of the Americans with Disabilities Act, they say try to integrate it into community and not make it segregated.
That's where you
go.
go.
Like Brody, where Brody is now mainstream into the school system. So they say try to get it out in the community so the people can see that individual disabilities are equally as capable as they are. So we try to get them out, get them trained out in the community, get them placed out in the community. That's where we got this partnership.
Well, let's do that. Let's talk for a second or so about the training, because I would like to. I mean, if I had the choice, I'd like to be able to say, all right, I can fix them. I have a certificate in small engine repair. I don't necessarily have the time or the tools, but if I had the opportunity, I'd like to be able to take it to some of the same kind of guys or girls that we were sending our equipment to back in the 70s. Where can we find a listing of those guys and those skills and those shops. Is that out there?
There really isn't right now, but we're trying to promote it. And that's why we're doing this conference.
Okay, and then the training, right? So I mean, if there's somebody with a disability, and I'm thinking of a fellow that we used to talk to on the radio all the time. His name was Kool-Aid, and he was blind, and I'm he had actually had the opportunity to go off island and get training on, number one, how to deal with his disability and how to get employed with his disability. Obviously, he ain't going to be driving buses or anything like that, but he's still got a functioning brain, still got functioning limbs and fingers. So where are people with disabilities going today to get training for skills that they can use in the workplace?
Well, if they're coming through our office, we actually do an assessment of their capabilities and try to determine where they would best suited for the type of job that they would be best suited for.
Okay.
And then it's actually the employers who provide the training. And this is why this public-private partnership is so important, because this DVR can actually help fund that training activity. And so they're in the workplace, they're developing skills, they're developing social skills, because many of them have been out of a job for so long and they may need to redevelop the social skills. And so the employer...
Got any IT guys?
Actually, I do. Do you need some? I have 2 people I'm trying to place right now.
There's people listening to the radio asking me right now. They said, "Do you have anybody that can help me run my network? Does he have somebody?
You need someone to draw your artwork? I've got somebody right now that I'm trying to place. So
website work,
yeah.
Build apps?
Yeah. Well, I don't know about apps. I haven't determined that yet. But he can definitely do that logo that you have on your shirt right now.
Yep.
Right?
And I think the guy that did the logo has got... I don't want to refer to it as a disability. I don't think it is as grave as that. But I think he could park in one of Ben's parking spots, if you will. Closing in about the iConnect time. Listen, I really appreciate you guys coming in. It's always a pleasure. Ben, it's always great seeing you. And Grace, don't be a stranger. I know that between you guys working together, I think it's a great program. But PHRS also has a number of other programs that you guys do on your own.
I'd like to promote one of ours, Franklin Covey of 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. We have that. That's our...
I attended the short version of that. Changed my life.
Really? Yeah. Wonderful. But seriously, we have the contract for all of Micronesia.
You still doing the 7 Habits for teenagers and kids in school?
Yes, we do.
Vital.
We actually have it in 2 schools right now. We have it in Adacao and JP Torres.
Tell you now, one of the things, if you want to get involved in that, if you are a 7 Habits graduate from anywhere that the program has been done and a believer on it, my suggestion is you find Grace Donaldson. Again, the outfit is called PHRS, and see if there's ways that you can help get some of the teaching materials into the hands of the kids, because usually that's where you need the most help. Is we've got the curriculum, we've got everything that we need. It's just the books cost money to have shipped from the States and then distributed to the kids. So if you're one of those very benevolent organizations with a few extra dollars that you'd like to put towards the next generation of big thinkers, if you love the book, if you love the series, then there's no reason why you should not be a part.
So we have it at UOG, and we're trying to work with DVR to bring it into their community as well. So.
Yeah, like I said, for me, I don't want to. Maybe I was over the top when I said life changer.
It is a life changer.
Hey, listen, for some people, most of our lives, I'd like to think, are pretty unscrewed up, but everybody's got 1 or 2 places where they might be able to do a couple of tweaks here and improvements there, and the 7 Habits, that series, that is just so inspirational. If for no other reason, it helped point out the places where I was doing it right, and sometimes it's nice to have that kind of validation. Grace, always nice seeing you.
Thank you.
And Jason, even though you didn't say anything, it's a pleasure. This whole conversation is going to be on Facebook Live and YouTube Live, so you can share it with everybody and see that we talked about all of the right things, right?
Yeah, and if they want to register, they can call PHRS.
And they can call us at 637-6906.
Gotcha. I thought that was all obvious. It's closing in on 9:36 in the morning. That's iConnect time. Call iConnect at 888-8888 and find out why they are the practical choice. I'll tell you why on the radio, but they can drill into some details. Great rates on push-to-talk, mobile, and internet plans.
Off a day, I'm Madeline Berdalio. For over 60 years, I've spent my life serving you. Through the years, we've done so much. And those of us who have run for public office know that we run on our records and that we are judged by what we've done and what we've failed to do. My late husband, Ricky, imparted this teaching moment. In elections, we win some and we lose some. Personally, I know there's immense difficulty in defeat, but it doesn't serve the good of our island or our Democratic Party when we don't embrace the will of our people. So now more than ever, we need leaders who understand the issues and have a plan for the future. On November 6th, I'm voting for Lou and Josh, and I'm asking everyone who wants positive change to vote for them too. I'm in with Lou and Josh, so vote Democrat.
I'm Leon Guerrero, and I approve this message.
Paid for by the committee to elect Leon Guerrero Tenorio. Tony Sanford, Treasurer.
God, I'm hungry. You know why I'm hungry? Reading all the comments on Facebook Live here is making me just, I was famished to begin with, which is odd because I ate really good last night. Can I tell you where I ate last night?
You can, but that's why you're hungry, because you ate so much your tummy swelled up.
Is that a thing?
It is a thing.
It's not a thing. You're making it up.
No.
All right, listen, if your tummy's all swelled up because you ate too much and now you've got to fill it at its new size, then here's what I want you to do. Swing by the nearest Wendy's and enjoy the new Harvest Chicken Salad. They have all of the flavors of fall except pumpkin. But maybe there's a shake or something like that. Maybe they got a tea or something that you can get your hands on. Anyway, fresh cut lettuce, crisp red and green apples, dried cranberries, and the perfect combination of apple wood, smoked bacon, crumbled feta cheese, and apple cider vinaigrette dressing and brown sugar roasted walnuts. I'm getting that metallic feel in my mouth when I talk about vinaigrette. It makes me all saliva-y. Get saliva-y this fall season. Fall for the new Harvest Chicken Salad from Wendy's. Now that's better.
The Extra Point with Jerry Roberts of Guam Training every morning on The Ray Gibson Show.
Most office teams end their week on Friday afternoon. Whatever work you have stops at 5 o'clock, and the week is officially over. I'm Jerry Roberts, and at 7:20 a.m. on The Ray Gibson Show, I'd like to introduce another option.
You can find daily transcripts of The Extra Point by Jerry Roberts at GuamTraining.com. Tune in every weekday morning at 7:20 for The Extra Point with Jerry Roberts on The Ray Gibson Show on 93.3 The Point.
You know, any opportunity to get in a fight, huh? Is that what's going on Facebook Live? I love you guys. So Daryl Taggart, I love Daryl Taggart, says, Ben Servino shows his respect for the law, the United States, and self. Endorsed by the U.S. Citizens for Public Accountability. His name printed on the ballot. Just fill in the oval next to his name. No spelling test here. And then naturally, Chris from Big Abetta says, yeah, but Frank's not printed on the ballot because he lost a primary. Losing means you're out of the next round. Ask the 2004 USA basketball team. Lost in the semifinals. No gold medals. When you lose, you lose. It's Chris's job to make sure that that's said at every opportunity here on the Facebook Live. All right, what else do we have? What are we talking about? There's got to be something non-political there. Are we talking about the 9 o'clock update? Yes, we are in Core 3 as of 9 a.m. this morning. And if you're listening on the base, you too, because it was the governor working with Shoshana, the admiral, and so yes, everybody in Core 3 in anticipation of heavy weather, possibly in the next 36 hours. Jenna from the Department of Homeland Security and Civil Defense. Good morning, Jenna.
Good morning, Ray. Half a day.
Half a day. I'm really annoyed at this storm that's come up. I've got stuff to do Wednesday night, Thursday, and into the end of the week, and I don't have time for it. Is there anything you guys can do over there?
Yeah, we'll just make a wish. We'll make a wish that it goes away. It's not much we can do, but we can only prepare.
Well, and so I appreciate the time here, and I appreciate you sending out the notice. We thought at some point this morning we were going to be changing conditions of readiness to 4 to something else, and so it's 3 as of 9 o'clock in the morning. What is it that Homeland Security is suggesting for residents?
So right now we're just reminding the community to stay up to date with the latest information. The storm, if it does track any more southward, then of course that brings Guam into damaging winds. At this time, although we're not expecting those damaging winds, any slight shift southward of that track will put us in those.
It's necessary, and it's a question. One of the reasons why we are going into Core 3 is so that you can begin to at least mentally prepare for some of those things while the weather is still good, as Jenna is pointing out. as we have pointed out, it's a shooting match, and every single one of the islands in the Marianas has a bullseye on it. Saipan and Rota got nicked last time around. I'm not going to say it's anybody's turn. I'm just saying that there's going to be some heavy weather in the area, and things can change rapidly, even as we have found, while it's making its closest point of approach. There's such a thing as eye wobble, and sometimes, we've got things that look like it's going to go one place, and then the eye begins to wobble inside that circulation, and all of a sudden, bang, somebody else gets hit.
Right, so that's why it's really important. And take the time now while the weather's really clear, clear loose debris around your area, down vegetation, just making sure that anything that can become airborne with heavier winds, you're able to secure those, like your canopies, your tarps, or even children's toys that are left outside, just in case the damaging winds are expected for Guam.
Yeah. Chain the Zoris down, and remember the rule is anything that I like that's at your house that blows onto my house is mine now.
That's right.
That's the way all of that stuff works. Are you already starting to talk to your partners in the government of Guam about any kind of hardening that they have got to do? Specifically, we'll talk about GWA. There were some issues with pumps and pumps because generators had run out of gas, and a couple of locations down in Moleso that did not have generators attached to them. Are you going to start having those conversations about hardening, clearing trees, etc.?
Definitely. So there is a scheduled heavy weather brief for our response activity coordinators. So those are all of the partners from not only the government of Guam, but also our military partners, even our nonprofit private organizations. We are meeting with them this afternoon. It's at 12 o'clock today. National Weather Service will be giving us the latest updates, and then each agency has their own protocols and procedures and plans in place to prepare for these types of storms.
There are great opportunities for people to decide to determine whether or not their political candidates care about the island of Guam by the swift removal of any of the campaign signs that are going to be up. At some point, is there going to be a call out made by the Department of Homeland Security for politicians to stand down or put down their signage?
We do recommend, definitely taking down anything that can become airborne. So if it's not secured tightly enough, that's something that you're going to want to remove.
Wow. And many of these now on private property. Because that's the way the rules work. You can't put your signs on public property. So many of these signs are on private property. And I know for a fact in a few places where the signs have been put up on private property without the knowledge or authority of the owners. But owners, you need to go and check your properties, because if there's a sign on that property and it flies off and kills somebody, you could be held responsible for that.
Definitely. So, now's the time to check all of those signs now. If they're not secure enough, I advise, definitely to remove those signs if you're able to.
Yeah. Well, unless you got a building permit from somebody, it's probably not secure enough. Those things, most of them, you can knock them down just by dodoing in their general direction. So, so I'm a little graphic, but I think everybody gets the point. Jenna, thanks so much for the time. I appreciate it. I know you're going to be talking to everybody in the media. This is not one of those things where anybody's worried about any kind of scoop. We need to help get the information out to all of our listeners as much as possible. And again, I'll make the reminder: if you want to get involved and be like the person with all of the information about the storm, and you're starting to post stuff on social media or send things out on WhatsApp, please remove them when they are obsolete. As an example, any images that you put up that's at 6 o'clock this morning on Facebook or Instagram or wherever is now obsolete. That information is now old and will only lead to confusion. So
I could not have said it better. Yeah, definitely manage those timestamps, making sure that you're looking at the exact times and dates, because we do get a lot that are shared and reshared. So just pay
some idiot last week decided that they wanted to start floating around one of the Adlet videos from Manghut.
Right, and that happens, and people do get confused. So we appreciate you checking in with the right resources. Our office, local media, as well as the National Weather Service, they'll be putting out the most up-to-date information.
Hey, I like weather at Jeff's Pirates Cove. It's got everything kind of.
Them too, yes.
It's one of the places it becomes an incredible resource around here. Well, well, keep us in mind. I think you've got my WhatsApp, so if you need to get a hold of me anytime, just ring.
Okay, thank you so much, Ray.
Right on, Jenna. You have a fantastic day. 9:47 in the morning, 888-8255. I'm sorry, did you just hear the phone get put down? When does that happen? This might be the first time that I've heard a phone actually get put into a receiver.
Yeah, clearly she had a much bigger name on the other line.
No, it's just that there's the sound of a phone getting put into a thing. Most of the time, you press a button on the cell phone and say, okay, bye-bye, and the one party or the other will hang up, and you don't even hear the disconnect. You don't hear.
Oh, she was calling from the headquarters.
Great.
She was on the headquarters.
Neat says National Weather Service needs to hide their old posts. Oops. I don't know. Closest point of approach be I don't want to make any guesstimates on when that's going to be. We know it'll be Wednesday and then into Thursday.
As someone who runs a social media weather page, you can't go in there and start deleting posts. What people need to do is be responsible users and pay attention to the date and time that the post was issued. That's all you can do, and that's what social media is for.
If it's my page, I can delete posts.
You can, but it's problematic. I mean, it's just too much work to post things and then have to go back and
which is what I'm trying to say to people is don't post.
Yeah.
Leave it to the media.
Absolutely.
Leave it to the National Weather Service. Leave it to the experts that are going to be there, that are staffed 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, to be able to take the old stuff down, put new information up. It's so very, very important for us. 888-8255 is the number here, and what am I looking at on the socials? There's still the running skirmish about we love Frank, we hate Frank, all of that stuff. All right, well, it just is. And that's what's going to happen here between now and November the 6th. We're just going to have to get used to the division in the party, in the community, with Ray as the standard bearer for the Republican Party and Lou as the standard bearer for the Democratic Party, and Frank, who has, for whatever reasons, decided that he's still got a shot and is operating a write-in campaign. And there. You're going to hate it. You're going to want to argue with Chris and Ken every day, but so what? That's the nature of the politics that we've got around here these days. So closing it on 10 o'clock this morning, what have I got here for table of contents information that I have not yet gotten around to doing? Talked a little bit about there is data, and that's vital to guys like me, because I will, unless I specifically say, hey, guys, I'm not working right now. Can we not have a conversation while I'm trying to enjoy my friends and a cold beer? Unless I actually say that, and I will when it's time, I'm kind of curious as to what your thoughts are. People will often ask me what my thoughts are. Hey, Ray, is there going to be a runoff? Hey, Ray, who's going to win the election? And I will tell you as honestly as I can, because I'm not privy to all of the sacred wisdom that's floating around here. I'm not spending a lot of time talking to the insiders on any of the parties. It's just my gut instinct based on conversations that I am having with people that maybe are a little bit more connected. And the sense that I'm getting right now is, yeah, there could be a write-off. I think it leans in that direction, that there's going to be not a write-off, a runoff. Right on? No. Right off? No. Right in, runoff. Right in, runoff. I think it's going to lean in that direction. And I'm getting that from people. Beer? Yes. Yes, it is. What's a pertinent question? It is a pertinent question, Ray. What question are you asking me? How again are you holding Frank accountable for his vote and his actions regarding the pay raises? I got to do what? I mean, I gotta hold everybody accountable for everything they've ever done in their lives? You do it. You're the guy on the other side. And Dennis, the answer is beer. If beer is the question, yes is the answer. I'll just say that. But anyway, so I got guys that come up to me, and so I'm beginning to get that feel like it's going in that direction, because guys that I do know that are connected might have actual research that says, yeah, it seems to be moving in that direction. So there is finally something that looks like, feels like data. Now, you can be Kenley and Guerrero and poo-poo it. Poo-poo it at your own risk. He says, well, I don't like the way that survey is being done. I think they need a bigger sampling size. I think they needed to ask more women. I think they needed to ask more Filipinos. I think they need to ask more Zoroastrians, right? Whatever. You will always have a problem with the methodology, especially if it doesn't look like your guy is kicking butt. And there is another truism here. But it's the reality that we are going to have to deal with between here and November the 6th.
Zoroastrians are pretty cool folks.
Right? My mom used to hang out with the Rosicrucians.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
a deep bunch right there.
That is a deep bunch.
Can you say Georgia Guidestones?
It certainly was. Pyramid Power, buddy, back in the 1970s. Yeah. Pet Rocks had one. Had the pyramid thing. I thought the pyramid thing was the coolest thing.
But did you name the rock?
But what really irked me about the Pyramid Power thing was they'd always say, and this, I know it sounds like coast to coast in the middle of the night on the radio station, right? They'd say, well, if you take a dull blade and you put it with the pyramids, you come back to it and it will be sharp again, because that's the pyramid power. That's the power of the pyramid. That's why the Egyptians built it in that shape, to be able to concentrate all of this cosmic power to a point, and you'd use that point to make razor blades sharp. Well, I was 13 years old. I didn't have Whisker 1. What else does it do? What else can the pyramid? If I put it under my pillow, will I get better grades in math? And the answer to that question, by the way, is no. It didn't help at all. Do I have to take a break? Yeah, let me just wrap this thing up here after these.
Here at APL, our core values give the company its heart and soul. Whether it's connecting your business with our global network through our newly enhanced service or investing our efforts into giving back to the community, APL is committed to serving you. We humbly honor the opportunity to find innovative solutions for you and your business. To learn more about our enhanced service, call 588-4651 or visit www.apl.com/Guam for more details.
Guam Regional Medical City. We bring the healthcare advances of the world directly to you. We are an acute care hospital that complements your needs with our robust outpatient specialty clinics. From preventative care to critical care, we strive for consistent excellence at GRMC. Our core philosophy is where patients are partners, which means we work as a team to make a healthier version of you. For more information about GRMC, visit us at grmc.gu.
Thinking about something else, though. My producer, Michael Knight, worst wife ever, says I got to talk about the one-on-one with the candidates. We're going to be at the Micronesia Mall on Saturday between 1 and 4. Why? Because there will be a gaggle of people that are running for political office of one kind or another that want your vote, that want to convince you to just give me one of your 15 votes. Just give me one of your votes for governor. Just give me one of your votes for attorney general. Just give me one of your votes for Congress. You know who else would probably even be some people there that want your vote for Consolidated Commission on Utilities and the Ed Board. So we anticipate kind of a full house just among them. And so if there's people that you want to get to, is it you want to? I guarantee Frank will be there too. So who was it that wants to hold him accountable to his vote and his actions regarding the pay raises? So you want to hold him accountable? He'll be there. You're going to hold him accountable there, if you want to. There's I'm sure other dirt on all of the other candidates. I'm sorry you don't stay in political office for 16, 18, 20 years and not have done something to piss somebody off somewhere. You remember when we did the increase in the BPT, the gross receipts taxes, back in the early 2000s? You remember who was in charge of rules at the time? Who was at the legislature at the time? I got a list. Some of them are running for higher political office right now, as we speak. Do we hold them to that too, or is it just the current things? I'm sorry, I digress. But anyway, we'll be broadcasting the show live between 1 and 4 here on 93.3 The Point. But we'll also be doing Facebook Live. Carlos Barreto and the guys are going to bring out some pretty significant technology. Will it be live streamed? Yes, it will be live streamed here on The Point. And so, yes, you'll be able to put up your comments, and I'll be able to see them, and you'll be able to ask me to ask them bonehead questions, and we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens. See if anybody's minds get changed. I will make this point to among the candidates: sign up fast. I'll let you know from the stage where our sign up people are. They'll be walking around with a stenographer's pad or something, and we'll write your names down. And it's first come, first serve. If you want to be the first guy out, And trust me, you'll want to be the first guys out, because what traditionally happens, this has always happened, is the first guys get like 5 and 6 minute interviews.
Yeah.
Towards the end of it, between 3:30 and 4 o'clock, you might be the lieutenant governor of Guam, you might be the president of the Bank of Guam, or you might be the guy that's in the write-in campaign. You might get a minute.
Yeah.
You might get a minute. There's always people that are waiting. I have a finite list. So if you want to be a part of this and get max time, sign up early.
Propeller hats.
Umbrellas
for the people taking the names. That way they can spot them.
Lady D says, "I'll vote for whoever gives me umbrellas." Dude, there's people out there still got their get on board the 98 train umbrellas from back in the Carl T.C. Gutierrez days. All right, that was, I think that's it. 9:57. There's no point in bringing any of the other raging controversial stuff up out there. As much as it points to, I've got problems with issues that aren't getting addressed. Right? A lot of political gossip, but we got to try to keep things in line. We've got a serious problem with Japanese tourism. That's where the money comes from. And even though we got 1.52 million visitors that come in the last year, we've got to worry about bringing back the high spend that is the Japanese. And while we're talking about high spend, let's do Chinese and Russians as well if we can. So there's that. And the answer comes not necessarily from we got to clean up Tumon. We got to clean up the entire island, top to bottom, start to finish. Felix Camacho and the guys a few years ago did an outstanding job getting rid of junk vehicles. But guess what? They came back. I don't know. It's like they all went on a ship, and the ship left, and then it came back and dumped some more. So that's one of the problems that we've got to work on. And it's not just in Tumon anymore that we've got to concentrate our beautification efforts, because everybody has got a rent-a-car now. You know how you can tell that everybody's got to rent a car now? When's the last time you tried to park in one of the hotels after about 5 or 6 o'clock at night when all the tourists start coming back in from their driving around? Yeah, those parking spots. I mean, back in the old days, tourism was all about tour buses. Anymore, everybody's an FIT, right? 10 o'clock in the morning. Hey, I got to go. KUSG Agana on the way. It's going to be Brian Kilmeade, the rest of the right-wing bomb throwers, Rush Limbaugh, etc. And, of course, Bob Klitsky at 4 o'clock this afternoon here on The Point. My name is Ray Gibson. For Michael Knight, Kevin Kerrigan from the Guam Daily Post, and Blake Watson from Star 101, thanks so much for listening. I'll see you tomorrow, and we'll play around with more political gossip and current events and smart alecky comments. See ya.
Bringing you closer to the action. This is The Point.
I'm Lisa Lacera, Fox News. A rally in Houston this hour as Republican Senator Ted Cruz faces a tough re-election bid.
God bless Texas. And God bless President Donald Trump.
Cruz getting some high-powered help from President Trump, who has just taken the stage in Houston. Former President Obama, meanwhile, in Las Vegas, stumping for Democrats.
This November's elections are more important than any I can remember in my lifetime, and that includes when I was on the ballot. That's saying something. Politicians say every time, this is the most important election. This one's really that important.
The Senate race in Nevada expected to be close, where Democrat Jackie Rosen is hoping to unseat Republican Dean Heller. Turkey's president promising to release details into his country's investigation of the disappearance of a Saudi journalist at the Saudi Arabian consulate in Istanbul.
Recep Tayyip Erdogan says he will deliver the truth in all its nakedness when he addresses the Turkish parliament. A spokesperson for the president's party rejecting Saudi Arabia's telling that Jamal Khashoggi died in a fight, instead describing the journalist's death as a monstrously planned murder. Separately, an advisor to the president, writing in a Turkish newspaper of the Saudi account, "It feels like our intelligence is being mocked."
Fox's Simon Owen. Fetal remains found at a third funeral home in Michigan today. An asbestos removal crew discovered the remains of 2 fetuses at the former Moen Funeral Home in Oswasso, about 90 miles northwest of Detroit. Friday, police removed the remains of 63 fetuses from the Perry Funeral Home in Detroit. The remains of 10 fetuses and a stillborn infant were found October 12th at the Cantrell Funeral Home in Detroit. This is Fox News.